Bernard, significant progress made in external debt negotiations. This is coming from the president. That's good news. Government set T-bill rates at lowly 15% in cost-cutting move, and policy to reduce over $10 billion worth of imports ready.
Okay.
Let me take you to the new crusading guide. 2023 SONA, government committed to reviving the economy. Akufo-Addo, the president, is quoted. Also, let's support EC to deliver effectively Paul Chumberima to Ghanaians. And CDS Africa condemns military brutalities inside Ashaiman. And 3 community mining schemes to be commissioned by end of the year.
Moving online, I'm disappointed the president over no timelines for vaccine. This is Akando. Also, 150 Ashaiman residents released. NDC directs MPs to suspend campaigns to shoot down EC's new CI. And Introdanso says Ashaiman Soup is indisciplined to blame for such outcomes. Still on the City Newsroom website, more stories. We've built more roads than any government in the Fourth Republic, claims the president. Shortage of childhood vaccines worrying, same attribution, the president. And gold for oil policy already bearing fruit, according to the president. Meanwhile, City Business News, SONA full of hopelessness. Importers and Exporters Association are crying. Meanwhile, CPA threatens legal action to demand favorable tariff prices. This is Kofi Kapito emerging from the ashes. My journal, Ashaiman, military brutality, dehumanizing, condemnable and unacceptable. This is Shraj. Also, man dies in police custody in Ashanti region. Family cries foul. Meanwhile, Adongo says it's obvious Akufo-Addo could not manage the economy even without COVID-19. And then International Women's Day, I am here for you. Speaker assures women. Global stories, Russia airstrikes hit cities across Ukraine. This is the BBC's lead story. There's a question Godfred can answer. Why do Chinese billionaires keep vanishing? It's a story here and his people can address for us this morning. CNN has a very interesting headline. The White House is lashing out at a TV host on Fox News in what is described as an extraordinary rebuke. So Tucker Carlson had made light of the storming of the Capitol by some supporters of Donald Trump, and the White House. So it's almost like the main spokesperson for the president has attacked the host of the show
yesterday, and the Sinkupa took him to
the... So Carlson Tucker is a very popular host on Fox News, and it looks like this issue is not ending anytime soon. A couple of stories from Nigeria. The INEC has postponed their governorship elections, and the House of Poll Assembly over a court action over the so-called BVAS. And then, that's the main story. In East Africa, South Sudan, president has fired their foreign minister for what that's worth. And then Reuters is also talking about the Russian missile strikes in Ukraine as battle rages in a place called Bakhmut. Bakhmut. So this Russia thing is not ending anytime soon.
Yeah.
Well, let me take you to the president's then on the front page of the Daily Graphic, but the main details are on page 3 of the paper. And the president has recounted various interventions by the government in the health, economic, educational, security, and livelihood sectors. So on COVID-19 funds, for instance, responding to claims in recent times by the minority that the government was reckless with COVID-19 funds, the president noted that the economic fallout from the pandemic was so widespread and long-lasting that it was important to demonstrate that the funds were not misused. He gave an assurance that nothing untoward had been done with the funds and that the responses from the Ministers of Health and Finance had sufficiently laid to rest queries from the Auditor General's report. He gave a breakdown of the usage of funds to include 518 million Ghana cedis of grants and loans to micro, small, and medium enterprises through the Ghana Enterprise Agency, through which 302,515 enterprises, out of which 60% were women-owned, benefited. On debts and loans, the president said beyond the use of COVID-19 funds, there were legitimate questions on how the country's debt situation got where it was. Providing an explanation, he indicated that the government had not been reckless in borrowing and spending and noted that the debts being serviced were not contracted only during the period of his administration. He said the government had spent the money on building roads, bridges, and schools to train young people and equip them to face a competitive world. On infrastructure, he explained that beyond the construction of roads, his administration had implemented the national ID system, with the Ghana card being the most sought-after identification system, constructed more railways than any other government in the Fourth Republic, and established the Zongo Development Fund. He also mentioned the EVAT and then also commented on Ghana's conversations with the IMF.
Okay, so let me take you to the minorities' reaction. This is contained in the Ghanaian Times, for instance. Page 11 of the paper says, President didn't present real State of the Nation address. And Julius Yaupetichi and Jonathan Donko reporting for the Ghanaian Times. And they say that the minority in Parliament claimed yesterday that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo did not account to the nation on the true state of the Ghanaian economy. Now, according to the minority, the account by the president did not reflect the realities of Ghanaians at a time their living conditions were worsening. Now, the president Akufo-Addo, in his message, despite acknowledging the difficulties the economy finds itself in, touted the government for delivering on its mandate to make the living conditions of Ghanaians much better. Now, the president said the government had been prudent in the utilization of resources available to it in the areas of roads, health, transportation, communication, the fight against corruption, amongst others. But the minority said the scorecard of the president after 6 years in office had been quote-unquote excruciating hardship for Ghanaians, and that the hardship had been caused by the unbridled borrowing and mismanagement by the government. More in this.
Yeah, I'm sure as we do the show, you get more angles. There are comments around the vaccine, lack of timelines, issues that were raised. The Ashaiman story is also in the news. Vladimir Nchudanso is blaming indiscipline for what happened at Ashaiman. Dean of the Ghana Forces Command and Staff College, Professor Vladimir Nchudanso, has in part blamed the general disobedience of Ghanaians for the frequent military brutality meted out to civilians. Speaking on the back of Tuesday dawn soup conducted by some personnel from the armed forces, he said there has been a recent rise in the cases of indiscipline in the country. An interview on Point Blank, the security analyst said the circumstances under which the military stormed Ashaiman was questionable, but understanding, because it's only when the police are overwhelmed that the military will be called in to do what they did. So he was calling for, he was basically blaming police lack of resources.
My old supervisor, please.
Yes, Professor.
He says we have to look at equipping the police so that when these
This
things
is not what he taught. I sat in his class.
You shouldn't be talking like that.
No, I sat in his class.
Respect him a lot.
But I also said that
I sat in his class. This is not what he taught.
go on, let me read the whole thing. What we also have to look at is the very fact of indiscipline. So if I spoke about police lack of resources,
But I'm saying
spoke
that I
about
sat in his
indiscipline in our
class.
society.
This is not what he taught.
I'm looking for everything he said.
Has he changed what he has been teaching?
No, hold on. The guy spoke for like 10 minutes and they've chosen an angle to use. So maybe they didn't focus on the other issues.
Because I read
He
some
further
other
said
reports
that
of
there's
what
so
he
much disregard for the Constitution such that matters get hardly reported to the police of late, and that when such things happen, the outcome is substantial instances of brutality committed by security personnel all around the country. If we want to prevent this, then let our society be a constitutional state where we know our rights and our obligations.
Did he condemn what happened?
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm reading what is
a man of his size and stature, intellect.
What I'm saying is that
He's reporting what he said.
somebody is reporting the angle he wants. There are still two more stories here. The other one is still on the same website. 150 people have been released. This is from the citynewsroom.com. So the MP has updated that 150 out of the 84 individuals arrested by the military in the swoop in Ashaiman have been released. Now, the MP who confirmed seeing the released persons added that the remaining 30 are still being held in military custody. So they haven't been even sent to the police yet.
Okay, Bernard.
Then the last one on this, just a quick one, then you come in. Ashaiman brutality is dehumanizing, condemnable, and unacceptable. So this is Raj.
Yes.
So this one there, they didn't mince words at all. This is my job online. Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice has condemned last Tuesday's military exercise at parts of Ashaiman. Reacting to the incident, Joseph Whittle, Commissioner of Sraj, told Joy News' Blessed Soga that the exercise does not pass the test for an intelligence-led operation, while adding that the military acted wrongly. Because of their personal interest, they come to Ashaiman and take over the law and do what they want. I completely condemn it. It is degrading and dehumanizing treatment to put such persons who are going to work, arrest them, make them do press-ups in the mud, sit down with their clothing removed apart from some briefs. This is completely unacceptable. And this is exacted by the Army of Ghana. It's completely unacceptable. The commissioner exclaimed on the sidelines of the Ghana-EU dialogue at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration in Accra. He added that any defense of it by any leadership of the military is misplaced support. We need to call what is wrong, and this is completely wrong. When asked about the fears of reprisal from aggrieved residents, Mr. Whittle noted that the military still have weapons that they can always apply, so he sort of said that was not the way to go. The community of Ashaiman should hold themselves and allow lawful bodies like the police to investigate and take the right steps. This is what you expect from a Shira's
Exactly.
boss. So let's move on.
Let me say, though, that the CDS Africa has also condemned the military brutalities as Ashaiman. Let me just give you the first two paragraphs of the story. The Center for Democracy and Socio-Economic Development Africa has condemned the brutalities meted out to some residents of Ashaiman by some military officers at Ashaiman this week. A statement signed by Edna Asante, Assistant Programs Officer at CDS Africa, condemned the act and called for full-scale investigations into the issue. The details of that in the new Crusading Guide, page 3.
Let me tell you about T-bills. We're all looking for money. Page 2 of the BNFT says that the government will attempt to drive interest rates of key money market instruments, particularly treasury bills, across the 91,182 and 364-day tenors to as low as 15% in an aggressive move to reduce its cost of borrowing by taking advantage of the high demand environment for short-term maturities. A market actor who pleaded anonymity due to the subject's sensitive nature has hinted, quote, "I've been told by a source that if the debt exchange is successful..."
Now market taxes are pleading anonymity.
I mean, I've been told by a source that if the debt exchange is successful, government is going to force treasury bill rates down to 15%. They will definitely not be offering the over 30% that we are seeing.
And
the anonymous source
this is
said.
not even a controversial comment. Just, it's not like this is a normal comment any analyst should be able to make. So why is it pleading anonymity?
And then also there's a policy to reduce over $10 billion worth of imports, and the policy is ready. On page 2 of the same paper, the report of a 5-member ad hoc cabinet committee set up by the president on the implementation modalities to enhance domestic production in some 20 selected products is ready. Once confirmed, it is expected the minister designate for trade and industry, who is currently awaiting Parliament's approval, will urgently roll out a series of initiatives to implement the policy. According to the president, he mentioned this at the State of the Nation, during the State of the Nation. Quote, "Apart from the enhancement of revenues and judicious use of resources, we all agree that we need to do something about our huge import bill. Set up a committee, then goes and talk about how that is ready." Okay.
All right, let's continue.
Okay, Bernard, there's a story that I want to bring to your attention quickly, because we're told that climate change to worsen malaria cholera situation in Africa. And this story is by Isaac Edu, and it's in the Business Finder. It says that malaria and cholera could be featuring prominently in this diseases caused by climate change in Africa. Acting Director of the Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which is Africa CDC, Dr. Ahmed Ogwell Uma, has warned. Now, addressing delegates and participants at this year's Africa Health Agenda International Conference in Kigali, he said the effects of climate change are critical, contributing factors to many of the health and emergencies that we continue to see on the continent. Now, it says that disasters such as flooding, drought, or other extreme weather patterns have contributed to poorer health outcomes due to disruptions in health services. That's re-emergence of these diseases. And basically, it's calling for Africa to prepare and deal with the situation. Again, inviting international institutions to help support the agenda to make the continent robust in dealing with this problem.
Okay.
And then if you go to the front page of the Chronicle, there's a story there about an armed robber who has escaped from custody after attacking a pregnant woman. And the story is on page 2. Details says that Piles Ayoma, an alleged armed robber, has escaped from lawful custody at the Manette police station in the Greater Accra region. Now, information gathered by the Chronicle indicates that Piles was arraigned before the High Court, Accra, on an attempted murder and robbery charges last week, Thursday, and was remanded into prison custody to reappear on March 20, 2023. However, his warrant for the prison custody was not ready, so the investigator in charge took the accused person back to the Manette police station where he was initially held. Unfortunately, on the dawn of Friday, March 4, 2023, Piles allegedly escaped from the Manette police station cells. The Manette police station district command has confirmed the escape but refused to give further details when contacted by the newspaper on Tuesday. We are told that in the process he got into contact with a pregnant woman, attacked the pregnant woman, and some nasty things happened, Bernard.
All right, let's continue with...
So when you find him, please send him to his photograph is on the front
described
page.
him?
Yeah, his photograph is here on the front page. So.
All right, Africa Games LOC boss is upbeat about progress of Baltimore Legon projects. I was at Legon recently. The stadium is looking really nice.
Yes.
If they finish it, it will be good. Now, the executive chairman of the LOC for the 2023 All Africa Games, Kweku Ofuswasari, is confident facilities for hosting the games will be completed on schedule. With just a year to the start of the competition, the LOC board said contractors were working around the clock to meet the agreed timelines and was confident the various projects will be delivered for test runs ahead of the start of the African Games on March 8th. So it's exactly a year from yesterday. Now, after touring the project site yesterday, Dr. Fusasari described the pace of work as encouraging and said he was optimistic that the contractors would deliver on their promise to complete the work on schedule. Now, the Borteman project would include swimming, boxing, and indoor sports events. University of Ghana Legon Stadium as well would also complement the Borteman facility, and we're looking to host this event next year.
Well, at the IEA seminars that's currently ongoing on page 18 of the daily graphic, 7 student leaders have called for a review of the 1992 Constitution to empower the youth to be more involved in the governance process. According to them, such a move would show the youth that the country regarded them in the governance process and was ready to harness their expertise. So they're asking, for instance, for the presidential age limit to be reduced from 40 to 35.
Let's get into a few international stories.
Yes.
And I feel we need to be concerned about this. Russia airstrikes hit cities across Ukraine. Reuters is reporting this. Other websites are reporting this as well, that in Kiev, Russian missiles struck cities across Ukraine, including the capital, Kiev, the Black Sea port of Odessa, and the second city of Kharkiv early on Thursday, which is today, while Ukrainian defenders repelled fierce assaults on the beleaguered town of Bakhmut. The missiles hit a wide arc of targets, including cities stretching from Zhytomyr, Vinnytsia, and Rivne in the west of Dnipro, and Poltava in central Ukraine. The war is over a year old.
Our economy is suffering.
The governor of Odessa region said on Telegram that a mass missile attack had hit an energy facility in the port city, cutting power. Residential areas had also been hit. So that's the first story I wanted to highlight.
Okay.
Second story is from Nigeria.
What's happening?
Where the INEC has postponed the gubernatorial and House of Assembly polls. The Independent National Electoral Commission of Nigeria has postponed the governorship and State House Assembly elections scheduled for Saturday, March 11. In a statement on Wednesday night, INEC Commissioner for Voter Education, Festus Okoye, said the elections will be held on Saturday, March 18. And he says this follows the ruling by the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal on the reconfiguration of the bimodal voter accreditation system known as BVAS, used for the February 25 election. Then
the disappearing billionaire story.
Yes, I want to give you that as well. This is the BBC is asking a question that only you can answer.
No, they know the answer.
They are asking why. What is the story? They are asking why are Chinese billionaires disappearing, and where did the story disappear to? Just like the billionaires, the story has also disappeared. But the story is basically okay. Here's the story now.
You found it.
It keeps written 7 hours ago. The disappearance last month of technology industry dealmaker Bao Fan has rekindled interest in the recent Chinese phenomenon, vanishing billionaires. The founder of China Renaissance Holdings, with a client list that has included international giants like Tencent, Alibaba, and Baidu.
He's basically the tech god.
As a titan in the country's tech sector.
Yeah.
Mr. Bao's case has followed a well-trodden path. He went missing for days before his company announced that he was cooperating in an investigation being carried out by certain authorities in the People's Republic of China. As has also become customary, there has been no word yet on the government body, on which government body is carrying out the probe, which is about Mr. Bao's whereabouts. The mystery shrouding his appearance comes after a number of Chinese business leaders have gone missing in recent years, including Alibaba boss Jack Ma. And then, while vanishing billionaires tend to get much more attention, there have also been a number of less publicized cases of Chinese citizens going missing after taking part in, for example, anti-government protests or human rights campaigns. Mr. Bao's disappearance has once again shone spotlight on the view that this is one of the ways the president is tightening his control of China's system. They didn't mention others. I was looking for more names. So there's Mr.
There's Jack Ma.
So there's also 2020 March real estate tycoon Ren Jinqiang, who vanished after calling Mr. Xi a clown over his handling of the pandemic.
That's Evergrande's boss.
Later that year, after a one-day trial, Mr. Ren was sentenced to 18 years in prison on corruption charges. The most high-profile disappearance was, of course, Mr. Jack Ma, who was then the richest person in China. He vanished in 2020 after criticizing the country's financial regulators. The plan
After his failed IPO.
Yeah, so then they list other names. I wanted to give you a final one from the US, where the White House is not happy with Tucker Carlson, who's like a main host on Fox News. The White House has lashed out at Fox News host Tucker Carlson on Wednesday in an extraordinary rebuke of the late-night commentator who has been airing false depictions of the January 6, 2021 attack this week.
Hold on, the false descriptions.
Yes.
What is it? Was it in quotes?
No, they give us. There's actually a link to that where CNN has basically said what he's saying is not true. So in the US, media take on media. Carlson given access to about 40,000 hours of US Capitol security camera footage by Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has aired carefully selected clips to portray the pro-Trump mob as peaceful patriots. Mr. Carlson, according to CNN, falsely claimed that the footage provided conclusive evidence that Democrats and the House Select Committee that investigated the January 6 lied to Americans about the day's events. Now, according to the Justice Department, 140 officers were assaulted at the Capitol that day, including 60 Metropolitan Police officers and 80 U.S. Capitol Police officers. The Fox News host was roundly lambasted by the Capitol Police, Democratic lawmakers, and some Republicans this week. White House spokesperson Andrew Bates added to the condemnation.
You should find Anderson Cooper's clip of.
Oh, Anderson also took him to the cleaners.
Anderson Cooper says Tucker Carlson is a reporter who has never written a story in his life, never done any on-ground reporting, and yet sits in a chair.
Just finish up. We'll leave it here. Thank you. That was a newspaper review. Coming up next is the City Business News.
Your Papa see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa!
Bobo, so how's your engine now?
It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Quartz and you can feel better energy. Can't touch this. Charlie, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that?
Yes, so.
Somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched.
Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz?
No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer.
Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency.
Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry.
Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
City Business News next brought to you by MTN. Don't carry multiple phones around. You can go seamless with MTN eSIM and enjoy the convenience of connecting multiple phone numbers to one single phone or device. Check if your device is compatible. Simply dial *#06#. Once your device receives an EID number, it means your phone or device is compatible. Download the My MTN app today to request your MTN eSIM and enjoy a sweet, seamless life. And Go, your OMC of choice, is making life ever so convenient. We now accept Momo for all fuel purchases. Remember to Momo it at Go. That's not all. You can use a bank card. That is all bank cards to buy fuel at Goel. Visit our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. To receive more information on the service stations, you can conveniently use Momo. Goel, good energy. Michael Obodo is here with the news. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Bernard. Hello and welcome to the breakfast edition of City Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN Girl and powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. Coming up, government confident of a boost in revenues as electronic value-added tax system chalks success. Also, Imani Africa and Africa Center for Energy Policy, ASEP, call for commission of inquiry on Ake AGM transaction. Straight into our stories now. The government has indicated that the electronic value-added tax VAT system since its introduction has led to significant increase in revenue collection. The e-VAT is an electronic means of issuing VAT receipts or an electronic invoicing system for VAT-registered businesses. It was rolled out by the Ghana Revenue Authority last year, and already its task force has arrested some shop managers in Accra for allegedly evading tax on the system. President Akufo-Addo gave more perspectives on the successes chalked by the platform in his State of the Nation address.
And overseeing an improvement in revenue collection with the introduction of an e-VAT and e-invoicing system. For example, figures from 19 tax-paying companies onboarded onto the e-VAT system revealed total recorded monthly sales increasing from 222 million cedis in November 2021 to 720 million cedis in November 2022. Again, in December 2021, total monthly sales of 284 million cedis also saw a huge increase to 1 billion cedis in December 2022.
You heard that President Akufo-Addo. Now, civil society organizations Imani Africa and the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, are calling on the president to immediately constitute a commission of inquiry into the Aker AGM transaction. This follows the announcement by AGM Petroleum relinquishing its interest in the South Deepwater Tunnel block, which hosts one discovery, the Nyakrom 1X, from a drilling campaign embarked on by AGM in 2019. This announcement was welcomed by CSOs who wished that more be done regarding this matter and the whole issue of Aker Energy's oil holdings in Ghana to ensure the rule of law and fair treatment for Ghana as the sovereign. The call, according to the organizations, is to, among others, quote, inject a culture of accountability in the management of the petroleum industry and ensure that the country can count on leadership to avert paying hundreds of millions of dollars on avoidable transactions and establish the source of the overwhelming power Aker and AGM have to dictate their terms in the oil industry since 2018 and the preferential treatment they have enjoyed, end quote. They further recommended clear actions required to develop the Pecan field after Aker failed to submit an acceptable plan of development in 5 years as an operator of the Deepwater Tunnel Cape 3 Points block. Now, away from that, an economist, Professor Godfrey Bobkin, has refuted claims by President Akufo-Addo that his government did not engage in reckless borrowing. The president made the comment during his State of the Nation address yesterday, defending his government's use of the acquired funds. With a total public debt stock of about $575 billion as of November 2022, the government is currently experiencing its worst economic crunch, with government working towards a $3 billion IMF bailout to salvage the situation. Speaking to Citi Business News, Professor Bobkin said that the country's unsustainable debt level and its negative impact on the economy are proof that government was imprudent borrowing.
We cannot agree with the president that the current situation is solely as a result of COVID-19 and Russia-Ukraine. That is a poor diagnosis of the causes of the current challenges that we are going through. The other bit is whether we have been reckless with our borrowing and spending. The evidence on the ground does not suggest that we have been prudent with our borrowing and spending. Where our debt is right now, as also confirmed by the IMF through the debt sustainability analysis, the president's position cannot be supported. Right. The reason I'm saying the president's position cannot be supported is that it is now official that Ghana's debt is unsustainable. So you could not be talking about an unsustainable debt and be saying we have been prudent with borrowing. In principle, there is nothing wrong with borrowing. If you borrow and you use the funds to enhance the cash flow generation capacity of the economy will bear testimony to how the debt has been prudently utilized. So if you claim that you have actually borrowed and invested them efficiently, the economy will bear testimony.
That was Professor Godfrey Bobkin, who is an economist. Now, managers of the Ghana Stock Exchange have stated that they are expecting more investors on the local base in the coming days. This follows the conclusion of activities involving the domestic debt exchange program. The Ghana Stock Exchange since last year has not generated enough returns as compared to the preceding years. Per the summary of the February 2023 market activities, the GSE Composite and Financial Stock Indices recorded negative returns of about 1.5% and 5% respectively, an improvement over the January performance. Addressing the media on the sidelines of the bourses Ring the Bell for Gender Equality Program on International Women's Day, Managing Director of the GSE, Bernard Avle, stated that her outfit anticipates the stock market will bounce back strongly this year.
When our economy was down, investors, of course, also responded accordingly. We are seeing today signs of the gradual, at least we've hit rock bottom. We know the only way is up.
Bernard Avle is the Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange. Now, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana is scheduled to hold its 111th regular meetings from Wednesday, March 22, 2023 to Friday, March 24, 2023 to review developments in the economy. The monetary policy rate is a key point of interest for businesses as it sets the rate at which the BOG lends to commercial banks and impacts the interest rate on loans. The meeting will announce any updates or changes to this rate. The central bank at its last MPC meeting in January this year increased the monetary policy rate by 100 basis points to 28%, citing, among other things, the downside risks to inflation and exchange rate depreciation. The BOG will on Monday, March 27, 2023, announce the decision of the committee. Now, on the interbank foreign exchange market, where banks trade amongst themselves, the dollar remained unchanged and is selling at 11 cedis 2 pesos. The British pound gained 4 pesos and is selling at 13 cedis 5 pesos. The euro lost 1 peso and is selling at 11 cedis 6 pesos. However, at some forex bureaus in the capital, the dollar is selling for 12 cedis 85 pesos, while the British pound is selling at 14 cedis 90 pesos and the euro at 13 cedis. Let's now join Mark Jordan Sikanat of Data Bank for updates on the bonds market.
At the last auction on Tuesday, 7th March, the Ghanaian Treasury raised 4.53 billion Ghana cedis against a gross target of 2.78 billion Ghana cedis across the 91-day bill to the 364-day bill. Yields recorded a sharp decline, with the 91-day and the 182-day yields retreating to 24.16% and 26.56% respectively. The 364-day yield settled at 27.54%. At the next auction, the Treasury aims to raise 2.42 billion Ghana cedis to cover estimated maturities worth 2.28 billion Ghana cedis. On the Ghanaian secondary bond market, trading activity in the new bonds recorded a market turnover of 3 million Ghana cedis in the week open session. With the new bonds trading close to par value, the Data Bank Bond Index gained 0.9 points to 97.88 points, reducing the weighted yield to maturity by 8 basis points to 9.56%.
That was Mark Jordan Sikanate of Data Bank. And that does it for the breakfast edition of Citi Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN Goil and powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Michael Obudu. Thank you for listening. Have a good business day, and as always, please stay safe.
If home is where the heart is, then let's go home, shall we? Let's go where the entertainment is, where the passion is, where the laughter is, and sometimes even the tears too. Let's go where we feel safe enough to share our opinions
and send tweets,
where we do that embarrassing little dance to our favorite song. Let's go home where the love, the care, and the joy live.
There's no place like home. Connect your home to super fast internet with affordable data bundles from MTN Home. Visit broadband.mtn.com.gh or your My MTN app to sign up today. MTN.
I nearly gave up on driving out of frustration. What hadn't I done? Edging, replacing electrical parts, changing my fuel pump, and still the engine noise in my car won't stop. Then I met this guy who said I should try Goil Fuel. By the way, my name is Thomas. I did try Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now my car is renewed. Yankongwa! Goil
Oil stocks only higher grade fuels, further enriched with XP3, multifunctional enhancer, more efficient, eco-friendly, and at no extra cost. Available at every Goil station. Ajibebia. Goil Super XP Raw 95 and Diesel XP. Higher grade fuels, excellent for modern engines and all vehicles. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Sitting silence. 13 minutes past 7. Time for kickoff brought to you by Shell. Shell Fuel Saves Triple Action Formula improves your engine's efficiency, prevents deposit buildup, and protects your engine from wear and corrosion. So your engine can pull. You know, if your engine is not pulling, you know what it means. You get extra protection, extra savings, giving you extra kilometers out of your drive. So switch to Shell Fuel Save today because extra kilometers go a long way. And with the Lesheho School Bus Loan, you can get a competitive deal to buy a school bus this term. You don't need to wait till vacation. You can call now. 057-411-7851. Let's do this together. Lesheho, let's improve life. Benjamin Nkete is here with the news. All right, so Ben, what's the big story this morning?
Well, let's get into it right away. And the Ghana Football Association have reacted to low patronage at league matches. Now, Kudus pays tribute to Christian Atsu, and Messi and PSG have been dumped out of the Champions League. Let's get into the details. And General Secretary of the Ghana Football Association, Prosper Harris-Enado, says it's misplaced to blame the football governing body for the poor attendance at Ghana Premier League matches. Spectatorship at various league venues have decreased significantly, raising huge concerns. Harris-Enado spoke to City Sports on the sidelines of a leadership and development training program on the subject.
We are at the point where we need to do more. Nobody is running from the fact that we all need to do more. But let's not then make it a point that everything heavy. Indeed, I asked a question that when people don't go to watch a match or they watch a match in other jurisdiction, and we take a fancy of comparing everything in our football to EPL. In the EPL, if Stamford Bridge is not full to capacity, nobody mentions the English FA or the Premier League. They talk about Chelsea, yes, but the thing is that the local patronage of a match first must start from the club side. What has the club done that is causing the apathy? Because I can't sit here in Accra and legislate how RTU supporters should feel internally. The club must know, and if they need the support of the FA, where we come in, we will come in.
So you had General Secretary of the Ghana Football Association, Prosper Harris-Enado, speaking there. Let's move on to some other stuff. And the GFA still in the mix, in collaboration with development partners Betway, yesterday held a leadership and development training program for Women's League administrators as part of International Women's Day. Now, the mentorship program for the Northern sector took place at the Lancaster Hotel in Kumasi, while the Labadi Beach Hotel hosted the Southern sector. Now, Vice President of the Women's League, Madame Rosalie Namu, outlined the possible impact of the leadership and development training program.
At the end of each season, we do a review. And so we look at the structures, how people are implementing what is required of them. Player administration, player management, technical upgrading, coaching, branding, and marketing. These are things that is part of the club licensing requirements as well. So at the end of each season, we have a review meeting to assess how it has impacted the club. And it would have to reflect in their performances, how they run their things. And once we are able to do that, and we know where we need to up the game with regards to further upgrading and what we need to scrap eventually because it is not having the needed impact.
Vice President of the Women's League, Madam Rosalind Amo, speaking there. Let's move on to some other stuff in Ghana. And Ajax midfielder Mohamed Kudus says winning goal of the month for February will always be special for him because it will remind him of late Ghanaian footballer Christian Atsu. Now, Kudus paid homage to the former Newcastle United player who died in the Turkey earthquakes after he scored his first ever free kick in Ajax's 4-0 victory when they hosted Sparta Rotterdam in the Dutch Eredivisie. And the 22-year-old, after receiving his award, spoke highly of the former Black Stars player.
Personally, yeah, he's someone I know on a personal level, so it hits different.
What did Atsu mean to you?
A lot, you know. We all know his career, and he's played for a lot of top teams in the Europa League, even played in the league here, and it's my countryman. I grew up watching him also, yeah, and learned some from how he plays and stuff like that. So, and he has advised me a couple of times also. So it's hard, but yeah, you get to realize we need to appreciate life more, you know, because everything can just go off in one time. So we just need to make the most out of every single day, like it's our last day on earth, you know. Yeah, good lesson for all of us, you know. So I will remember this trophy forever, you know. Every single time I saw this goal of the month, and I remember the free kick, definitely the celebration is gonna come in my mind. So this is gonna be with me for forever, you know. So yeah, it's a special one for me personally.
So you had Ajax forward Mohamed Kudus speaking there. Let's move on to Europe, where the UEFA Champions League saw some interesting results last night. Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, they have been dumped out of the UEFA Champions League after failing to overturn a 1-0 deficit from the first leg against AC Milan. Tottenham tried as they did not score a goal on the day, so AC Milan progressed to the next round of the competition 1-0 on aggregate. Let's now get some reaction from Antonio Conte, who is Tottenham Hotspur coach, and then Olivier Giroud, who is a striker for AC Milan.
What happened that the third games in a row that we were not able to score. I think the game was in balance. Yes, I saw the stats, and the game was in balance. Then, if you ask me that in a game like this we were really dangerous, no. I think that we can do much better. We can do much better offensively to try. But when I speak about offensively, and I speak about the whole team, not only the players that play in front up. I think that we can do much better, but I can't tell anything or negative for the commitment of the players, because in my opinion the players they gave everything.
We had Tottenham Hotspur coach Antonio Conte speaking there. Let's hear from AC Milan striker Olivier Giroud.
Olivier, that's a great win. Organised, controlled. Did you ever think you were in real danger out there tonight?
Well, it's a great qualification, great win. We actually draw tonight, but it's enough. No, I think we've done a good job, good team spirit, you know, from the start on, and we could have scored goals, but we've been. It's a solid performance from the team. We've shown a lot of solidarity. We try to play our game and to be patient. And at the end, I think it's well deserved.
So you had Olivier Giroud of Tottenham, Olivier Giroud of AC Milan speaking. Then now Bayern Munich, they also beat PSG by 2-0. Now Munich win 3-0 on aggregate, so they move on to the next round of the competition. Let's now move on to the Europa League round of 16 first legs. Manchester United, they will be up against Real Betis. Now United head into the match on the back of a 7-0 thrashing to Liverpool over the weekend. Now forward Marcus Rashford believes that they will bounce back tonight.
Liverpool versus United is a unique game. It doesn't matter about form. It doesn't matter about individuals' form. It's a special game of football that's just decided in the 95 minutes that you're on the pitch. It's Liverpool that can take the game away from you, and that's what happened. Like the boss said, it's it's about resetting now. That's all we can do. There's no point dwelling on what happened because we can't change it. So yeah, we just press the reset button, go back to the basics, and give 100% again to try and win the game on Thursday.
Marcus Rashford plays for Manchester United. In other matches to be played, there's Union Berlin versus Union Saint-Gilloise from Belgium. There's also Bayer Leverkusen versus Ferencváros. Roma take on Real Sociedad. Sporting Lisbon take on Arsenal. Juventus take on Freiburg. There's also Sevilla versus Fenerbahce. And then Shakhtar Donetsk will be up against Feyenoord Rotterdam. Let's get to some other news. In Belgian side Club Brugge have sacked Scott Parker as manager after only 12 games in charge, following Tuesday night's 5-1 thrashing against Benfica. Now, Parker won just twice in his brief time in charge of the Belgian champions, a run that has seen them drop 19 points off league leaders Genk. Now, the final straw proved to be Tuesday's Champions League last 16 defeats in Lisbon, which saw them knocked out of the competition 7-1 on aggregate. So Scott Parker has been fired twice already this season. Let's get to some other news. And head coach of Ghana's amateur boxing team, Ofori Asare, has tasked the Ghana Boxing Federation to organize more competitions to shape up the level of boxing in the country. Now, he made this comment during the Independence Day Boxing Rumble held at the Bukom Boxing Arena. 20 bouts were held for amateur boxers as part of preparations for upcoming tournaments like the 2023 Africa Games and the 2024 Paris Olympics.
Ghana, we are boundless of when we are talking about talent. And so the only thing that can bring out the talent or unearth the talent is competition. And when we are having competitions like this, then we are able to, for now, being the head coach, I've discovered a whole lot of new boxers that I have not seen them. Now I've seen them again. And so it is a good thing, it's a good exercise. We hope that we'll get more opportunity like this for some of the boxers to be able to showcase themselves.
Ofori Asare is head coach of the Black Bombers, and that's all for this morning's edition of Kickoff. My name is Benjamin Nketia. There's more sports at citysportsonline.com.
Trust the process. The biggest things often start small. No matter where you are now, the most important decision you will make today is knowing where you'll be tomorrow. All you have to do is take the next step, believe in your journey, and go with passion. Because when you go with passion, you go big. You explore the possibilities. You create the tomorrow of your dreams. So come along and let's go big with our passion. Apply for a loan now and power your ambitions. Get plugged in. Let's go big. Powered by Lesieho.
Extra, extra, let me tell you all about it.
Hey, Dolomistic. You and this your extra thing. Abeg, tell me about it.
Abenquine, look, extra is what you and your car get when you switch to Shell Fuel Save. Extra protection, extra clean, and extra savings. You get it?
And no, I mean, tell me extra.
Shell Fuel Save is designed to improve engine efficiency instantly and with triple action formula that helps protect your engine from wear, corrosion, and deposit, so you get extra kilometers out of your drive.
Sir, and you're not extra, good for your engine. Extra, good for your pocket.
Extra kilometers goes a long way. Switch to Shell Fuel Save today. Go well.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com.
And happy birthday to Caroline Frimpong, a painting of Chalo Ghana Limited. Thanks for being an amazing friend. Wishing you good health, good health from Anita and Beryl. And we welcome back Nathan Kwao. 2 weeks hiatus, looking refreshed, looking ready to roll. Oh, I missed you on Monday. I was looking for you. I was looking for you.
You just called me. So you're not willing to let this go?
Eh?
Hey, Aloski. Today is Thursday.
I will never forget.
Wednesday.
Next year by this time I'll still be talking about it. Oh. In fact, every 7 o'clock.
7-0.
Every 7 o'clock.
You.
The guy in the editing room called Michael, what's his name?
Safu.
Michael Safu. Good morning, Michael Safu. Michael saw me. He said these days I don't talk about football.
Yeah.
That was before the match. Said, basking in unfounded confidence. Bernard, when we meet in the kitchen,
God, I don't know what it is.
You don't talk about football again.
That was true. Well, no, was it a justified observation?
No, it was part of my. I don't know.
No, but you found your love for football again on Sunday.
It's funny how I had lost all interest
until Sunday,
and I said I was even following ice hockey and things
until Sunday.
You know, Michael. Is this Michael Safu?
Michael Safu.
Good morning to you.
The bragging right now belongs to you, my brother.
For the next 7 years. There's no way you are going to overturn this in the next 7 years.
But it's we just see the win over you.
You are not even going to get it.
No, but
still celebrating a few people this 9th day of March 2023.
Yes, this one says, Dear SPK, forever the honey to my bun. With Christ in our midst, we will always go together. Sweet pea. Waking up to you every morning never gets old. Thanks for all the priceless memories we've made together. I can't wait for more out of this world adventures. A happy birthday, Pakwesi Hagen, from Lila, Troy, Tyrell, and Tori.
Let me say a belated happy birthday to my good friend, brother, and I mean, he's just a guy in many ways. Best man, Oh, Koku.
Best man Koku Gabet.
Fail.
It's on the caravan.
Yeah, he's on the caravan.
Oh, they're not small.
Best man, Chale, you are a big man, and Chale, you represent the city brand in many ways.
This morning, he's at the Usbed Hotel. I can imagine wearing shorts, having had breakfast, rubbing his hands on his stomach, visiting other people, encouraging them to
dancing,
continue the enjoyment,
dancing.
To say there's 3 days more. They shouldn't give up. There's 10 more hours of road trip to. They should continue chilling.
Yes.
Because life is good.
Yes.
So big man. So happy birthday to you, best man. On the caravan, listening to us at Usbed Hotel, and to all the caravanizers, they get ready with breakfast. And for me, my favorite part of the caravan has always been the Western Corridor.
Yeah, why?
Because, every time I travel to...
Mm-hmm.
I've been traveling to Tamale on the main Tampo Road. The only time I get to use the Western Corridor Road is on the caravan.
Okay.
It's different. So they move all the way from Bole Bamboy, and then they drive through Bandang Kwanta and come down into Winchi. And then they connect to Sunyani. And and it's for me my favorite part of the journey. And then from Sunyani they go down through Western North. All right, they come through the places like Awasu, and then they drive through Seshu Bekwai, and then they continue down through to the Dunkwa areas. And then they were coming through Wasei Kropong.
That's right.
And then hit the main Takrady Road. And then connect to Etwabo. Those parts of Ghana are just different. They are greener. They are, it's just incredible to feel a part of Ghana that is so almost untouched for me. Because I usually would do the Volta region. I will go all the way to Hohwe. I'm also familiar with the Kumasi route. But that western route, oh my God, I'm telling you. So they're going to do 10 hours from Sunyang all the way to Atwabo. Wishing them I'm sure we'll touch base with them before the show ends. So
a birthday dedication coming in. This one says belated birthday wish to Rachel Adai, an final year student of Marshall's University College and CEO of Riri Beads and Accessories. Message coming from Setoni, who's in Spintex.
And if you're looking for a real ice cold refreshment to quench your thirst and complement your meals, then go on and grab your favorite 300 ml Coke Classic plastic bottle now at 5 cedis, or the same size 300 ml Coke Zero, Fanta, and Sprite at 4 cedis. You can also grab your 1.5 liter Coke Classic plastic bottle at 20 cedis, and the same size 1.5 liter for 18 cedis. Bring the excitement and fun to all your occasions and enjoy the real ice cold refreshment with friends and family. I want to start an advocacy.
Talk to me about that. What do you
on Saturday, I went to my children's school. They did the sports event.
I see.
It was inter-houses. So the teachers were the referees, teachers were the linesmen, the teachers were the ring announcers, the teachers were the commentators, the teachers were everything. And I said, these guys, they work hard. Because I look at the volume of work the children bring home, the homework they do, the fact that teachers mark this work, and then they do. So when they're doing like extracurricular, teachers go with them. Last Christmas, the kids did like a Carol's night, variety night. The teachers train them. And then on Saturday morning, they are doing Meet the Parents. The next week, they are doing sports. And I look at the average teacher's salary and I feel, based on the way I am closer to my children's work, I really think we need a national conversation on the way we pay teachers. I feel like we need to, like, for example, and I'm not trying to denigrate any profession, okay? But, if you look at relatively in Ghana, you can say the highest paid, apart from the politicians, will be the doctors, right? And then it comes all the way down. So the teachers are not that high up, okay? If you take, like, people who are working in the public sector, teachers are not that highly paid, both private and public. But if I look at the kind of work they do and the importance of their work, maybe this is not the best time, but we should have a conversation about that. Because if you think about the fact that about 8 hours, sometimes 6 or 7 hours of your child's day is spent with the teacher. If you look at a week, your kids spend more time with their teachers than with you, generally speaking. Okay, so it means that what they will become depends a lot more on the teacher than you, even though you are their father. So you meet them in the morning. If you come to work here, it means you meet them 30 minutes. If you are lucky, they go from 7, and sometimes they come back at 3 p.m. So 7, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 8 hours. 8 hours out. So 1/3 of the day is with the teachers. Now, even if you get home at 5 p.m.,
you've lost 2 a day.
And then they sleep by 7 or 8. So it means that you are not really getting. So if so 8 times 5, 40 hours a week is with the teachers. So 40 hours. If it's a lower primary, it means this is the pupil teacher. So if they're in class 1, 2, or 3, it means that there's the same teacher with them for 8 hours. Okay? Their values. So for example, if they go to the teacher and say, Kofi has hit me, they say, you to go and hit him some. So you are in the house thinking that you are training your child. I'm just giving an example. You are training your child to forgive. He's telling that Kofi Bo Asubonibi, or somebody does something wrong and your child goes to tell the teacher and the teacher says, oh, you like cooking too much, or you like talking too much. So basically, there's dissonance between what you are teaching your child at home, because you won't get the child in the morning. They will come home at 3. Sometimes they do classes. So if you even get home at 5, by the time they eat supper and they sleep, you haven't had them. Okay, so you probably see them 2 hours in a working day. Teacher gets 8 hours with them. You are telling your child that when you see something wrong, report it. So if the teacher decides that this child is too much of a chuka, then the child believes that. That's why every time the child comes to tell you, when I went to school, teacher said this. It's almost like it's contradicts what you said. All right. Now, if somebody spends 8 hours with your child a day, that's 40 hours a week. Weekend, what do? Outdooring, funeral, party. If you're a Ghanaian. So even if you want to take them to music or wherever you take them, you still don't have that much time. Sunday, you go to church. The pastor also does his 1 hour or whatever he will say. You don't know what their Sunday school teacher is telling them. So effectively, your child is being raised by other people. If you are a worker, and this is not just for morning show hosts like me, it's for many people. So if you are like, let's assume you work in a bank. Let me pick a bank, ADB. You go to work by 8, you come back at 5 p.m. Your spouse works in a hospital. She goes to work at 8, comes back at the same time. You guys may have 30 minutes with the children in the car. The teacher has 8 hours with the child. You have another 2 hours before they sleep for the whole week. So values are being inculcated by the teacher. Standards, English, spoken English, reading. So the child can be pretending to be working in the house. You come and say, give me your phone. In school, if there's no proper insistence on reading and on the kinds of things to read, if the teaching approach is chew and pour, you can do classes, but the child will still be chew and pour. If, for example, your child comes home and he's always, for example, I'll tell my son, oh, let's study this. Oh, he's not coming in the exam. So from class 5, they're already thinking about exams. It's because of the school. So my point is that if you look at the way society is turning out, teachers play increasingly a much more important role. And this is not even for middle classes alone. Even if you're on the very low, let's assume you're an orange seller, right? And you send your child to a normal school. You don't have a lot of time with your child. So they go and spend 8 hours in school. So all the values they are bringing home is what their teacher is telling them. So you are the orange seller, you come back home, you see your child, you make supper for them to eat. You make sure they do their homework, you sleep. The next morning, they are back in school. Okay, now this is my argument. If teachers are disgruntled, right, as in they are unhappy with the system, they pass on that disgruntlement to the child. So I remember when I was very young, this is PNDC Rawlins, University Primary School. Some of the teachers, they will make side comments about the government, and I would sort of listen to it and say, but why is the government doing this? Even though I didn't even understand the context. You know, I remember very vividly, there was a day we were in school and Harry Sawyer came he was the Minister of Education under Rawlings. And then somebody, I won't mention the president, said, oh, they said Rawlings appointee or something. They said something disparaging about his beard. And the things, I was in like class 4 or class 3 or something, the thing stuck with me for a long time. So what I'm saying is that if we don't take the concept of teaching and teachers more seriously, and we sort of just allow them to continue being poorly trained, poorly paid, overworked, and demotivated, we are shooting ourselves in the foot, right? Because I don't know how much extra classes you can do to wipe away the 8 hours I just spoke to you about. Because even if you have money to do extra class, so let's assume the teacher comes at 4 p.m. and she goes at 6 o'clock, 2 hours. And she can't do 5 days. So let's assume she even does 3 days a week. She's doing 6 hours a week. Your teacher is doing 8 hours a day. Right? Now, if we don't have a system that gets, number one, people who actually want to teach. You notice that the teachers who did well for you were teachers who actually wanted to teach. Not those who were teaching out of duress or out of excuse. There are some teachers who are naturally interested in teaching. There are teachers who live to teach. And I'll say to you that in every population, there are people who want to teach. So I think one of the questions we need to answer in our development quest is, how do we get people who actually want to teach to teach? That's number one. Number two, if we even get those people, how do we make sure that they are being incentivized so that they don't get discouraged? You get me? Because somebody can mean well. Like there are people in media. Godfrey, you know there are some people who are born journalists. You know, you've worked with many. There are some people in your newsroom, you know they are there because they don't have any other job to do. But there are some people who you know that this guy, he just wants to be a journalist. You know. Now, the same way all three of you can tell who a journalist is. No wonder sometimes when I have somebody to I bring it to Godfrey. So this guy, take him. He wants to be a journalist. There are some people who are just doing it for 2 minutes. Good. In the same way, there are teachers like that. I'm sure if I send some 3 candidates to an experienced teacher and I said, these 3 people say they want to teach, they can say, this guy, he just wants to teach because he doesn't have a job. But this guy is actually a teacher. Good. Now, I'm saying that in the same way that poor pay can discourage a good journalist, right? He may want to do the work, but because he's not being well paid, he can't afford the rent and everything, he either start taking bribes, or he will become a bit slack, or he will leave the profession. In the same way, you are having teachers who are dedicated, they want to teach, but the pay is not good enough. Or the working conditions are so bad, they say, you know what, I'm going to Turkey, I'm going to New Zealand, I'm going to the UK, I'm going to the US, I'm going to work in a biscuit factory, I'm going to do cleaning, I'm going to do care for 3 years, and I'll work my way in the UK system. Now, the only chance we have as a country against the Chinese, the Koreans, the Germans, the Americans is education. Because education is the only way we can add value to what we produce in a generic way. If we have citizens who are well educated and enlightened, the country will be great. It's not about how much gold we have, it's not about how much diamonds we have, it's not about how much oil we produce. What makes a nation great is the quality of its people. So if Ghana wants to compete with the rest of the world, if we want to be the best country in Africa, let's invest in the minds of our children so that wherever they find themselves, they will manufacture, they will invent, they will develop things that cannot be beaten, right? So I'm saying that this quest to develop cannot be done without teachers. And the way I see teachers in Ghana today, we need a big push for teachers. This may not be the platform to discuss, but we have elections coming up. And I don't want us to use teachers just as a voting thing. What I'm talking about is beyond promising them allowances. What I'm talking about is beyond a tokenistic increase in 2% salary. What I'm saying is that the teacher must be at the center of the educational policy. And the educational sector must be at the center of social policy. Do you get me? So you make the teacher the main, because a bad teacher cannot produce a good student. So what makes a good school is a good teacher. What makes a good student is a good teacher. So infrastructure is great. School feeding and all those things are good. But if you have quality people teaching, you're going to have quality students. Now, a good school is not a school just with a track record. A good school is a school with good teachers. So if your training colleges are not producing the right quality, for example, UCC. UCC was built to do a specific thing. Over the years, it's like universal banks. Some banks were built to do agric, but they've all become universal banks. The universities have become the same. So every university is doing everything. And I don't think that's good enough. Okay, so what I'm saying is that there has to be a more rigorous focus on the teacher's welfare and on maintaining and retaining good teachers. Okay. And I feel like school heads can start by looking at the remuneration structure of their teachers and making the teachers feel like they are needed in the schools. Because you and I cannot have the peace of mind. Yesterday you made a very important point that the soldiers who beat people on the road, they forget that some of the people they beat are going to teach their kids. Are nurses going to give them injections? Or are doctors going to treat them? Now, you and I cannot have peace of mind to work if the person who our children spend 8 hours with is underpaid, disgruntled, or wants to leave at the next quickest exit door. Okay? So what we are doing is that by keeping teachers poorly paid and demotivated, we are mortgaging our future. We think, oh, once they don't do strike, we are okay. The standard is not, they are not doing strike. Let's look at the attrition rate, where some schools actually have very few teachers who are good. A lot of them are leaving. And some of them are leaving the country. And they are not even going into teaching, no. They are going into lesser professions. And for me, based on my interaction with teachers, it's almost as if they are the forgotten bit. If you look at even the government policies, where you are looking for votes and some of the policies they bring, it's not really about teachers. SHS, it's not about teachers. School feed is not about teachers. Even the buildings they are putting up under the NDC, it's not really about teachers. Do you get me? So I feel like there must be a national return to the values. Final point I'll make. A lot of the good schools in the past were defined by the good teachers. Whether it's Prempe, whether it's Presec Achimota. You go to all the 80s and the 70s, it was teachers who made the schools. It wasn't any classroom. In fact, when I first went to Presec, the classroom, they didn't even have windows. I visited the school recently. My classroom block has still not been renovated. The classroom block I studied for 3 years, they didn't have windows. So sometimes when they scatter, you can jump through the window and go. But the likes of Mr. Kuti, who would insist that you understand the geography, Jamo, Lasso Dauda, do you understand? Teachers who will spend their time to make sure you know the thing. That's what makes a good school, not the infrastructure alone. So this morning, even though teachers are giving a lot of homework, I want to just tell them that. As for me, I support them.
I did for you.
I think that the teachers of Ghana deserve a lot more to keep them in the system. If it will start with a 30% across board, we'll take it like that. And then some of the extra things they do, extracurricular training, your kids will do computing, reading club, coding. These are the same teachers who do it. Music, And sometimes there are 30 kids in a class. This guy has insulted me. This guy has hit me. He has taken my pen. Charlie. If one day, let me end with this. If one day they should let parents decide on one parent to teach the class for the day. Okay, so they'll say today there are 30 people in class 4V. Today, Mr. Sky will be the teacher for the day. To just get a feel of what the teachers go through for one day.
They will go home depressed.
Sky.
That's the truth. Especially when they are under 10.
And I'm saying that this is our only chance if we can improve the quality of teaching in our public schools so that even the lowest child can get a good education. You and I are here because of education. It's because my father went to school. That's why I'm here. Because prior to his time, a lot of my great a lot of them didn't go to school. They were just farmers, right? And because my father went to school, all his 8 children have been educated. And all of us, our children are educated. And we are somebody in society. So we should not, and so for me, of all the things we spend money on, the one we should not politicize is education. The one we should not toy with is education. The one we should say, as for this one, education, no, you can't. Because that's the difference between a destroyed teenager and somebody who will come and change lives. Your background, I mean, and I feel like we don't centralize, we only wait till strikes or some policy. No, we can pick a day like random and say, teachers of Ghana deserve better. The teacher must be at the center of the educational system, and education must be at the center of the national development plan. Because the only way we can compete with the rest of the world is through education. When you went to do your masters, you are from Ghana. You had people from over 15 countries in your class. You were not disadvantaged. You held your own because of education. Anything else, GDP, you were possibly in the bottom. Natural resources, you were not that wild. Personal income, nothing give you. But when it came to book, whether they are from US, Pakistan, when you answer a question, the lecturer says, Mr. Sky, you won the best student because of education. You were born in Adafianu, but you went to compete in Birmingham because of education. But why can't your country compete at the G8? If all our citizens can be educated like you were, the way you held your own in Birmingham, we will hold our own in the League of Nations. Okay. That's the only thing. The only thing you had in that university, the others didn't have, was education. Because of the way you had been trained and your work experience, you were confident, nobody could intimidate you. Chinese were there, Americans were there. They didn't say, my president is Trump or Biden, so you keep quiet. They didn't say that because it was education. So the only way Ghana can become respected globally is education. Not by the size of our GDP, it's education. So I want to really urge the system. Let's make education the main thing. And if you have a demotivated teacher, it will even destroy your family. Because the more time your kids spend with a demotivated teacher, the more toxic things they put in their head. And everything you tell your child when you come home, you say, oh, the teacher said something else. And the child will not believe you. Especially if the teacher is eloquent. So please, that's my 20 seconds for the morning. Nathan, give me 2 quick announcements. I'll bring Godfred in, take a social media trends. I know you want to talk about state of the nation, but what is on my heart is education this morning. Anyway. That's what's on my heart. By the way, if you're a parent who agrees with me that we should pay teachers better, please let me know. I am minded to start a private members bill. Oh yeah, Sky will guide me. Oh yeah,
to get teachers.
Happy.
Well, I mean, look, it's important.
A private members bill.
Teachers are very
increase their salary by 30% across
very
board.
Very important.
From 1 to upper 6.
Like you say, they can turn a child's life story around.
I'm here because of my teachers.
You know, they really can.
I'm here because, and I'll never forget my class 4 teacher, but let's continue with the
Anyway, Absa is saying that in the beginning, children in her community used to walk to school. Today, not only are her bamboo bicycles making it easier for these children to get to school, Benis Dapa is also employing many women as well. At Absa, this is what we call Africanacity, the distinct ability of the Ghanaian to always get things done. Africanacity is our inspiration. It defines who we are and what we do. It's our commitment to helping people find a way to get things done. To find out more, visit absa.com.gh. Now, the Cybersecurity Authority is exercising its mandate. In exercising its mandate, has commenced the licensing of cybersecurity service providers and accreditation of cybersecurity establishments and cybersecurity professionals in the country. Now, this will be done between March 1 and the 30th of September this year. Details on the licensing and accreditation procedures can be found on the website of the authority at csa.gov.gh. Individuals and organizations are accordingly advised in their own interest to engage the services of only licensed and accredited industry players. Now, grabbing your favorite drink for all your different occasions can be tricky sometimes, but no need to stress. Your favorite Coca-Cola has you covered. Are you looking for real ice-cold refreshment to quench your thirst and complement your meals? Then go on and grab your favorite 300 ml Coke Classic plastic bottle at now 5 cedis, or the same size 300 ml Coke Zero Fanta and Sprite plastic bottles at 4 cedis to keep the enjoyment going. Bring the excitement and fun to all your occasions and enjoy the real ice-cold refreshment with your friends and family.
Second social media trends brought to you by Vodafone. The Vodafone One Ghana promo is here. With just 1 CD, you can get 20 minutes talk time to all other networks and 1 gig of data every day between 5 a.m. and 11:59 a.m. Simply dial *530# subscribe and enjoy longer conversations and browsing. The Vodafone One Ghana promo is the best value offer in town. It's easy on your pocket. Save big when you subscribe to the One Ghana promo daily. Vodafone, further together. All right, I know, Godfred, so much happening on... Actually, Nathan is back. So Nathan is doing the segment for us this morning, yes.
Well, so many different things trending. Ashaiman is trending for very obvious reasons, yes. On the sporting side of things, a number of interesting trends. So you have Kudus. He's won, he's doing big things at Ajax. Some people say his time at Ajax is coming to an end because these performances clearly will get somebody signing. From last night's Champions League games, you've got Mbappe trending.
Mbappe.
You've got Harry Kane
Come
trending.
to Liverpool.
You've got Chelsea trending.
Let's do something good together. Leave this PSG, Mbappe.
Okay, and another trends as
so a lot of football trends.
Yes, Attrition is equally trending.
Cassia.
Yes, Attrition.
No, he's a big man.
Charlie,
his picture. He and the president were having discourse and discobolus. No, Charlie, Atu be big man. Hey, Atu.
Hey, Atu.
Me na who grill me today.
So those several other things trending. But
do you know that Brian Champong and Attrition were trending in Kenya?
Really?
Yes.
So apparently on a number of Kenyan news portals, was it yesterday?
Yeah, it was yesterday. We saw the
a lot. I think 2-3 days ago. You know the interaction between Attrition and Brian, where Brian says, "Hey, Atu, Charlie, the thing they trend, and the Kenyans are saying, you see what serious MPs are doing." You know, the way
we don't hear say that people they do nothing.
Maybe one day you should be introducing other nations' trends.
I see.
Maybe once a week, go for it. Kenya was trending Attrition and what do you call it? Brian Echamp, when they were like, Charlie, this is the way the Ghanaian MPs are serious, and they were grilling their friends, and we are sitting in Kenya fully. And I said, hey!
Okay, to some tech news quickly.
The problem is nowhere.
I tell you. They said, Charlie, Attrition, they grill Brian, and we they sit Kenya the food.
Anyway,
which we are sitting here saying something must right.
They do them our own. Anyway, to some tech news.
They said tricycles with tires, which cannot fry. Hey, in the sky. Charlie, let's repent though. The Kenyans say Attrition is the best in sliced bread.
Charlie,
you are sitting here saying, tricycles with tires, which cannot fry. Is cannot be fried.
Charlie,
oh,
anyway, to some tech news, and the Dutch government is saying that before the summer, it will put restrictions on the country's most advanced chip exports to protect its national security, following a similar move by the US. Now, it will include technology produced by computer chip equipment maker ASML. ASML is one of the most important firms in the global microchip supply chain.
All right.
Semiconductors, which power everything from phones to military hardware, are the center of a bitter dispute between the US and China.
One Ghana, pet. Just one Ghana.
Yo, bro, I beg, make you give me correct shock absorber. Or make a do video concept, then take the Gaussian P for the engine show you.
Hey, yawa humache. Every morning you the tear calls, they browse. Charlie, something they.
Hey, Tago, the way Tom make hot, I grow best one if you no po. If it be you where you get Vodafone 1 Ghana promo them out, 20 minutes talk time to call all networks, where you start get data and 1 gig from 5 a.m. to 11:59 a.m. Bye. Anka, you go do pass me safe, Anka. You dial *530# hash. Make we enjoy. You go fit subscribe as many times as you want.
Yes, plantain.
Yo, sweet Ama, take this by Vodafone 1 Ghana bundle. Moku vibe plus video calls and taste. You catch the vibe. Early morning, 5 a.m. sharp.
Vodafone, never together.
schools in the Eastern region, in the Sojaman district, says, Bernard, I am teaching 5 classes, and my smallest class is 51 students on the roll. So this person is possibly a subject teacher. So it's not. It doesn't teach 5 classes. That's in the pupil.
No.
So it's maybe teaching maths.
Mhm.
So maybe he's teaching
across different classes.
SHS 1 A, B, C, SHS 2 B, C, whatever. So what is your average teaching day like as a teacher? And how much are you paid? Just want to know. I need it for something. And again, the other point I want to make is, if you're listening to me from a community that you consider to be deprived, how are you coping with things like accommodation, transportation? Now, I'm saying this because, 2 days ago, the discussion on the show was about no doctor in the Wa East District. I can tell you for a fact that there are teachers in the Wa East District. So where doctors fear to tread, teachers are already there. Right? Not to pit teachers against doctors, but to say, of course, we have more teachers than doctors. But even with no doctors, there are still teachers teaching in those places. So what is your average teaching day like? How many students do you teach in your school? How many hours do you spend in a day teaching? And what are the conditions of work? This could be private, could be public. I want to know. Send me a voice note. 054-998-6996. Don't forget my thesis this morning is twofold. Education must be at the center of development policy. Education, not infrastructure, not roads, not whatever. Education must be at the center. So I call it human development. Human development must be at the center of our economic plan. And at the center of that education is the teacher. The teacher is the most important unit in the educational sector. If you get the teaching right, we'll get the students right, we'll get the schools right, we'll get the knowledge right, we'll get the exams right. But the teachers are the same guys who mark the exams.
Mama is your teacher.
So, and I want to say to parents as well, if you just increase the value you place on the teachers, it will change the way you even relate to the school. The relationship you have with the teachers, it will just change everything. See them as partners in the development of your child, because as I say, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week with your child. Charlie, the influences are many. So if you're a teacher listening to me, I want to know your working day. How is it like?
What they have been teaching us.
But let's talk about iVest before I take some notes on the teaching side.
Well, iVest is saying that get in touch with them. They are a fixed-term investment account that delivers great returns on your investment over a short period of time with no haircut. Open an iVest account today with a minimum of 5,000 cedis. Watch your money grow. Now, this is for those who, you've put money away and you're going through all kinds of challenges. Just call Israel Savings and Loans now on 0550-144-144 or visit israel.com.gh for more info. iVest, no haircut.
At all.
iVest, excellent returns guaranteed.
Sharp.
Now, did you miss out on the January admissions? Well, if you missed out, don't worry. Heritage Christian University College is offering you the opportunity to join our April 2023 intake with a 50% waiver for fresh students. The university has since 2018 given a sum of over 300,000 cedis as startup grants to a number of its students to start their own businesses through the Startup Challenge. Now, you can find Heritage Christian College, Heritage Christian University College, at Ashaiman behind the Olympic Stadium, is affiliated to KNUST and is accredited by GTEC. Call them on 0547 777 or 0302 298 399. And you can also visit their website hcuc.edu.gh and apply there. Heritage Christian College, University training compassionate entrepreneurial leaders.
Education must be at the center of our national development plan. By education, I'm talking about human development. And the teacher must be brought back as the center of education policy. Their training, their motivation, their retention. the training of teachers, the motivation of teachers, the remuneration of teachers, and the motivation of teachers. And the equipping of teachers must be at the center of our educational plan. The only way we can compete in the Committee of Nations is through high-quality education. And all of us who sit here, funny enough, we've all studied abroad. And it was education that showed us that we were somebody. Oh, yes. When you were collecting the prizes in Buckingham, it wasn't because you were a good footballer. It was because you had heard. Prophet, I need you to help me here because I have a lot more to say. I'm not getting the vocabulary to express what I really feel.
Well,
you know?
I understand where you're coming from. And interestingly, around this desk this morning, almost everybody has taught before.
Charlie?
Tertiary, some of us are tertiary level, but almost all of us have taught at the basic level.
Me, I taught class 3, 4, and 5.
Yes, almost all of us
for
at
1.5 years.
Yes, careers. We've taught at basic level before,
and I ran away.
And then have also taught at the tertiary level.
Yes,
you know, and it's very, very difficult, particularly when you're teaching at the basic level. You know. And I was lucky enough to be in an environment where there wasn't even a lack of resources, but just the sheer weight of numbers and your prep time, you know, to enter the class. And sometimes you getting swayed by exam outcomes rather than just focusing on improving even the basic students. You know, sometimes that's trying to disconnect yourself from your worries at home. As soon as you enter the classroom, to focus on the kids who are there for the next 4 or 5 hours without letting your personal worries at home enter the classroom, because you have to separate those two. And you are dealing with kids who are shouting, screaming, pulling each other's hair. You know,
he has hit me. He has stand those things.
So I kind of understand why you are where you are this morning on the matter. Now,
is there any truth in the claim that places like China and some of the countries that have done well in recent times, education has been at the center of that? There's this anecdotal thing. They say, oh, China, they pay teachers well. Korea, they pay teachers well. Japan. It's almost like they are saying, a lot of the countries that have caught up with the more advanced countries, the key has been education.
Certainly. There has been a focus in improving education at certain levels. You know, and to get them to become more competitive. So there's a lot of they take note of trends and make sure they are always up to date with the trends. Okay, there's the investment in the teachers, there's the investment in the equipment to make sure that they stay up. And there's also a lot of pressure that comes with pressure, because once the authorities are also spending money, they are asking a lot more of you. Okay, so in that particular environment, you find that teachers are also very highly stressed. Okay. But it is also true that
in terms of their remuneration, is there any so how you know how
I wouldn't
how
know,
well
but
teachers are paid?
Again, anecdotally, we've heard stories of Ghanaian teachers who left to go to teach in places like Vietnam, who would tell you now, if some of them are listening, would tell you now that they feel they are much better off than they are here, because it's not just about the remuneration, but it's just what other things they get to teach.
Okay.
And like you also said, for most of those in that setup, particularly in the public school setup, most of them are people who are career teachers. We have a lot of those people who would want to spend their whole lives in the classroom. So it's not as much about how much you pay them as what support can you give me to be able to execute. If their salary is regular, you run your economy properly, they have the teaching tools that they require. They will tell you they don't need much to survive anywhere that they might be. They just want to teach. So for them, impact is what they are looking for. But that brings me to something just to help the conversation. So there's a gentleman, there's a teacher called Roger Ayinselia.
Okay.
Who did this? He spoke to teachers as well on why they teach.
Why they teach in Ghana?
To get the sense, yes, in Ghana, a sense of professional identity, and he did this in rural northern Ghana. Which is something that, which is why I decided to use that one.
Why do they teach?
Why do they teach? And he says 4 key themes emerged for him. So one was the influence of their former teachers.
Wow.
One.
The influence of their former teachers.
So one teacher said that and I'm quoting here, I'm reading if you allow me.
Go ahead.
He says, when I was in P4, we were taught by one teacher. The way he was handling us, I was touched. I saw him not only to be a teacher, but he was a guard, a parent. From that point, I realized that there's a lot of joy in the teaching profession. Why am I saying so? Imagine, he was staying at Galbo, and in those days, motorbikes were not common. But this teacher could get up early in the morning with his bicycle and paddle to school before some of us would even get to school.
Wow.
There were times that he even bought shaving sticks and shaved us. Since then, from that time, he became my role model. I wanted to be like him. So that prompted me to enter into the teaching profession after I completed my senior high school education.
The first one is the influence of their former teachers.
And then there's enjoying working with children. So the other participants who said they enjoy working. So somebody said, I was a Sunday school teacher in my church.
Wow.
Teaching children in the church was just something that I normally enjoy doing. That is why I choose teaching, so that I'll continue to work with children.
So they have a natural inclination for the profession.
Yes.
And for children. So that's the second major reason.
Yes.
What's the third major reason?
Influence of close family members.
Okay. They advise you to go and teach.
Yes. Now, some participants became teachers because their family members asked them to join. So according to one person, he said, when I was growing up, I wanted to join the immigration. I was not ready for the teaching profession. But my parents and sister asked me to join the teaching profession.
Wow.
And then there are those who spoke about the love for teaching.
Wow.
Love
for teaching.
Yes, so that they felt in love with the profession because they saw teaching to be good. So there's one teacher who said, I just made up my mind that I wanted to become a teacher simply because of the work. I see it as doing good.
Amazing. So far, very good reasons.
Yes.
Anybody there saying because of money?
Oh, I'm building up.
You are coming there.
Yes. And then there's also the matter of recognition, which was a theme that emerged. So this captured the teachers' concerns for their efforts to be appreciated in the form of financial and material incentives and in kind through praise and concerns for their daily struggles by both authorities and parents.
So recognition.
Yes, that also emerged. Now, this is an interesting one. It says, a profession that is deemed to be unselfish. Teachers were often told their reward is in heaven. I claimed one teacher. She however appeared not to be thrilled by this view, as she said, quote, though it's in heaven, but what do we also have to depend on earth? You can't just be working and say my reward is in heaven.
Charlie.
We teachers also want to achieve something on earth.
So this was still under the recognition
This
point.
was also under recognition. And then there's respect and regard.
In society.
Yes. Now, this one focused on teachers and the basic school teaching profession to be treated with dignity.
Yes.
So according to some participants, the respect that teachers enjoyed in society has come down. They attributed this to people's mindset that basic school teachers, for instance, possessed low certificates. Hence, they were not qualified to be professionals as compared to their colleagues at the secondary school and tertiary levels. Although some participants possessed much higher qualifications. So, for instance, this one said, at times, some of the parents walk in and say things by heart.
Oh, Charlie.
And if you're not happy with the work profession, they will also say that if you don't like it, go away. Currently, one parent came here because of her daughter and just asked me, what do you know?
Oh.
If you claim to know, go and teach at the senior high school and stop disturbing our children.
Oh.
This is what one teacher said the feedback was. Her view was that parents were treating teachers unfairly, considering that the other professionals who were respected highly were taught by teachers. And then it also emerged that teachers were concerned about respect from officials at their district education offices. Now, one teacher said that, for instance, I don't know whether because we are dealing with a job, they see us to be secondary officers. Because when we get to the office, that's Ghana Education Service office at times, the way the officers treat us is nothing to write home about. Simply because you're a teacher. They look at themselves because they are in an office and they think they are horses.
Oh, Charlie.
And because we are handling chalk, they look at us as secondary human beings.
Oh.
And this has not been good. It has been a particular canker we are battling for with the past few years.
Okay.
Now, he also claimed, then they also spoke about support for daily task of teaching. Now, most of them complained that they received little support in terms of teaching and learning resources, both from authority and parents. For instance, they lamented that some subjects in schools, there were no textbooks and syllabuses, and we know this, we've been reporting on this for years. Now, it says, under such circumstances, teachers were compelled to teach anyhow as they had limited options as to what they could do. So again, I'll give you a quote from one of the teachers who said we have some subjects we are supposed to teach, but there are no textbooks and syllabuses. So how do you teach? Sometimes either there will be only one, sometimes either there will only be the syllabus but no textbook, or there'll be textbook and no syllabus. So you teach buruka bruka, which is translated as teaching anyhow. You start at where you want and end where you want. Because if there's a textbook but there's no syllabus, you don't know how the syllabus goes about. And if the syllabus is there and the textbook is not, the syllabus is just something very little for you to always refer to. So that's why he said we teach like that.
Okay.
And then they also spoke about the professional dimension of their experiences. So this is just a bit to highlight some of the things that teachers at that level go through.
Thank you for that. This is really important. The insight. So it tells you that quite a number of, I don't know the percentage, but a lot of the reasons being given are positive.
Yes, and let me just again mention, this is from a study done by Roger Abogzwa Ayinselia.
Wonderful.
It's called Teacher's Sense of Professional Identity in Ghana, listening to selected teachers in rural northern Ghana. It's available if you want to look at it.
So how can we place the teacher at the center of the educational sector? How can we place education at the center of development policy? Send us your comments. If you're a teacher, let's hear from you on your own sacrifices and what you think can be done. I have a few interesting comments. Nathan's going to read some for me this morning.
All right. This one says, I share in your concern for teachers this morning. I want to say that making teachers the center of our educational planning is all documented but not implemented. Teachers do not need 30% or more in terms of an increment in salary. All I think teachers need is a better condition of service that must work and implemented. For example, teachers are to get fuel allowance, but for a very long time, this has not been paid. That's Frederick Owusu-Boache from Tema.
Better working conditions.
Yep. Benji says, even if the Ghanaian government or the Ghana government decides to add teachers to Article 71 office holders, we will leave. Our services are valued and appreciated elsewhere.
Oh, are you talking about leaving Ghana or leaving the profession?
I don't know. This one says, I've taught for 27 years. I have loved the work I have done over the years. I have put in my all and my students can bear testimony to it. I remember when my headmistress called me and advised me that I should slow down because if I break down, there won't be any help available for me. But I went on. 27 years on, I'm here, currently sick, and medical care is hard to reach. Charlie.
27 years on.
Okay. And he says, I have plans to stop the work and do some selling ASAP. I believe there's hope for the future, though, as more and more people get awakened to the importance of the work we do. And if teachers themselves discover and push for better conditions. Joseph from Apollonia sends that.
Okay.
This one, I've always wanted to be a teacher from childhood and I've been trained. But after 5 years in the field, I have advised myself. I've left the sector to learn graphic design and coding. Hopefully, that these areas have better working conditions and opportunities for good career progression. But I'm also teaching privately because I still love to teach anyway.
So he's moved to better himself.
Yes.
He's teaching on the side, but his main job is no longer teaching.
Yes, even though he teaches on the side. This one says, I'm very happy for your submission. I'm very happy that you put out a submission on teacher salary. I tell you, it's nothing to write home about. I salute those teachers who have been able to see their children to higher heights in life. I wonder how they did it with the little salary they took. My sister is a teacher with one boy and a single mother too. And when I look at her pay slip, I'm like, God is your helper, okay? I support you 100%. On your move for teacher salary to be increased by 30%. That's Obaya in Danfa.
Okay.
All right, this one says, I support your call to uplift the teachers. I was trying to teach my 3-year-old girl how to tell the truth. And that whenever she says the truth, I'll not punish her. Can you imagine her teacher punished her for speaking the truth? And now that has her confused. Teachers really have the wherewithal to shape our children's lives. Seidu from Awoshi.
All right, more comments. If you are a teacher, let's hear from you on what you put in. We are trying to, I'm not sure what angle to use, whether to just make it an on-air advocacy or whether to, I don't know, get Sky and his people in parliament to do something on the bill or whatever. But
this one,
I'm starting with moral conversation.
Hold on, Bernard.
Yes,
I understand the moral one, but if you go to Parliament,
yes,
and you look at the profiles,
a lot of them are
MPs,
teachers.
Yeah, you have.
There are a lot.
Possibly about 40% of MPs are teachers or former teachers.
But most of them go to Parliament to get out of the teaching profession.
Yeah, indeed, a lot of them leave politics. As I said, a lot of the churches, when they started their mission schools, their plan was to train teachers. So PTC was very critical. So when they get a mission house, they build a school, they train people, they raise them to levels of catechist, who is possibly a headmaster as well. So there's a lot. The teaching profession has built the nation. But I'm saying that now we have to give back to them because they've given us a lot already. Let's give back to them so they can move the things to the next level. There are a few comments coming on my personal handle as well. So this one says, Bernard, for Korea, it is documented that education was their master key to their miracle. In my studying days in Korea, we learned about that. In fact, Korea is partnering developing countries to share that secret, and they are providing scholarships to huge number of public officials in that regard. When you are graduating, you are asked to write a paper on how you intend to apply the knowledge you acquired. It is known as the Korea Knowledge Sharing Program. I was a beneficiary of this. I was one of the first beneficiaries in the Green Finance Program as part of their MBA Finance. So this is a colleague of mine who was in school with me, talking about how Korea used education to bridge the gap. All right, a few more comments on this issue.
Okay. Osebwa Ting from Oyibi says, Bernard, I'm speechless. My wife is a teacher. And if I tell you what she's going through, including what her headmistress is doing, you'll be shocked. But in all, I support your call. Teachers need to be taken care of. Headmistresses are bread, teachers are bread. Good morning, Bernard. Trust you're doing great. For better salary for the teachers. You from Joel says, Bernard, even parents giving presentation on career days is no joke, let alone teaching for 8 hours. Good morning, Bernard. And so I'd like to celebrate Mr. Peter King Akato of Christian Home School in Dansuman. He's not a trained teacher, but I can testify without any doubt that he's one of the best English teachers we have around. Very selfless and focused. Good morning, Bernard. Thank you for thinking about teachers this morning. I'm a school supervisor, and if you look at the condition in which some of these teachers work, you weep. School buildings are built in the most difficult, hard-to-reach areas with only the children who will attend the school in mind. No provision is even made for the teachers who will teach the basic children will stay. As for funding, especially the basic schools, the least said, the better. A couple more
on teachers.
This one says, my name is Ken Amwakun. Ken, how are you? Ken Amwakun Senna inside Piki. He wants to appreciate his wife, a teacher at Piki Avetile Methodist School, and he's wishing her happy 10th anniversary in their marriage. But the question is, do you feel you are paying realistic school fees for your children? If yes, then it's for the private school to pay them well. Private schools are just focusing on profit without paying their teachers well. That's also fair comment, Bernard. Teachers make a big difference. I agree wholeheartedly. I wasn't a science student. I was business inclined. But Mr. Jandu of blessed memory was of immense help to me. He helped me to understand and even take biology as an optional subject. And you believe I dropped physics, but took ad math and A-level math with a cons? The teachers who made an impact and impressions are the ones we remember. Good morning, Citi. Your conversation this morning on teachers who deserve better service and good emoluments is good. I remember in 82 as a member of the Interim National Coordinating Committee for PDCs and WDCS. I was invited to inaugurate Teachers Workers Defense Committees. In my address, I told them that teachers are more important and should be paid well. I told them the nurse, the doctor, the lawyer, the lecturer, the police, the soldier, and the president went through the teacher. It is the teacher who made you who you are today. The teacher should be celebrated and given some attention. This is Azuma Besore from Medina.
When you go to church, pastor is your teacher.
Thank you, Bernard, for this topic. I have been teaching for 26 years now. I have been a subject teacher since. I have a master's degree in my subject area. My take-home salary as of today is 2,630 Ghana cedis. I chose to teach because of the influence of my mom, you are right, who was a teacher, and my JHS friend teacher, who was a great and wonderful teacher. She handled us like a mother. I love teaching. So far, so good. Though the salary and the conditions are poor, I still love my job. Bernard, I fully support your submission. Let's have that national discussion for a better Ghana. Education is now something else. So,
let me ask a question.
Please go ahead.
In this day and age within the Republic of Ghana, in this economy, with everything we know about it, health, accommodation, food, personal security, clothing, all of those things, how does a person survive with 2,000 Ghana cedis?
630. That is the question. That's the problem of the day. And this person has been teaching for 26 years.
Yes, I mean, if you do the
26 years.
Yes. I mean, 2,000.
Is that the Charlie, that's serious.
Divided by 30. So he lives on 86 Ghana cedis a month, a day. Now, the question we should ask is, of course, he would have a child or a few of them to take care of, a wife to take care of.
Charlie,
I don't know. I mean, you must be a magician.
Yeah, 2,630 cedis for a 26-year profession.
Yes, someone who's been in the profession for 26 good years. Imagine the number of children that he has had to handle in the course of making it to 26 years. And what he's paid presently, we're not talking about what he was paid, a few years ago. It's 86 Ghana cedis a day.
But I'm interested in the
how does it survive?
No, but I'm interested in the person who spoke about the private schools, and I don't know what happens there, but it does look, because private schools are really expensive. So how come
no,
they feel they're underpaid?
You remember you gave categorization.
I categorize it.
So there are the very expensive ones.
Yes.
There's the medium level ones,
and there are those who are basically saitos doing different guys
doing a lot of work in poor communities.
Yes.
What I would say is that, generally speaking, it seems to me as if the government doesn't, and I could be wrong here, the government doesn't seem to see private schools as a partner. They see them more like a competitor to what they are trying to do with their public education.
At the moment.
So it's making things more difficult for the private schools.
Yeah, but I beg you, let's come back to this 86 Ghana cedi thing, because that's at the heart of what
2,630 cedis for somebody who teaches for 26 years.
Exactly, because on average, how much do you spend on, breakfast?
What we need to ask this person is, are you teaching at the basic level, secondary or primary? Number 2, how many dependents do you have? So we can do the economics better. So the person who sent the message
where's the person teaching? Which region?
Is it a public or a private school? So please, I don't want to mention your name. Please give us more information, because Skype wants to use this number to do some calculation. You've been teaching for 26 years. What level are you teaching? Is it basic, preschool, secondary, or tertiary? Second question is, do you have any dependents? All right, and then
where do you teach?
Yeah, where do you teach? Is it in Accra? Is it in Tamale? Is it in Kumasi, or whatever? Send us that information so we can. Sky wants to really jump.
Bernard, you know why it is very, very disturbing? Because the amount of money that he is paid determines how much the government is paying to SNET, or whichever pension scheme is the secondary one that he is a part of. And this level of pay will follow him to the rest of his life.
His pension will be calculated based on this.
And they will use his best years ultimately to determine how much he earns at the end of every month when he retires. Now the question you ask yourself, with this level of pay, and given everything we know about the Ghanaian economy presently, and given the things we know about how difficult it is to grow up, and then have health challenges, issues that crop up every single month, and you almost always have to go and see a doctor. How will such a person, after all these years of service to the Republic, be able to live a decent life in retirement? Even when he's not getting one associate. Because 2,600 Ghana cedis in today's Ghana
is serious.
It's a very, very serious.
And this is somebody who's been teaching for 26 years.
Yes.
So the assumption is that if somebody entered the profession fresh, they will be on a lower salary level than this.
Yes.
Because 26 years would mean that there have been promotions, there have been different studies to improve yourself, right?
Did he even say that he had masters or something?
Let me read the message again. Bernard, I've been teaching for 26 years. I've been a subject teacher since. I have a master's degree in my subject area. My take-home salary is 2,630 cedis. I chose to teach because of the influence of my mom, who was a teacher, and my friend teacher, who was a good teacher. Now, the person has added more information. Now teaching at the secondary level in Accra, I have 4 children.
Bernard. No. I mean,
okay,
no.
let me ask another question. Do you have a spouse, and does your spouse also earn a salary? Because you have 4 children. I mean, this is really interesting. And how do you supplement your income? Please, we won't mention your name on it. We just want to know. Do you do extra classes? Because this 2,630 would then mean that if you were the only person looking after these 4 kids, that would be almost impossible. So, do you do extra classes? Do you teach people in their homes? How do you have time for that? Do you have a spouse? Does your spouse earn income? How are you surviving? Do you have your own house? Do you pay rent? How do you get to work? Do you drive a car? Do you use a bicycle? You know, what school do your kids attend? Please, if you want more information.
So if you divide the 2,630, if you divide the 86 Ghana cedis by 5, because if you assume that he doesn't have a spouse, and you add the kids and you divide it by 5, you get 17 Ghana cedis a day.
Be serious.
17 Ghana cedis. That's how much the household is having to depend on one person in that household. Would take 17.
Can't you do some mathematics to prove that the person will survive? Because they say Ghanaians are magicians. So can't you figure out how they are surviving?
Bernard, so you imagine the accommodation that because on average, if you want to live in Accra in a decent accommodation these days, some of the things you see and they tell you is 1,500 Ghana cedis a month, or 2,000 or 3,000 Ghana cedis a month. Just imagine. I think you should ask him those questions. The type of accommodation that he's in, where his children are living.
Where do they even live?
Yeah, I mean, because with 2,600 Ghana cedis, you must be a magician in Accra.
So what that would mean is that they would probably be living within the fringes of the capital, where accommodation is much cheaper. Then they would obviously be using public transport if you don't have a vehicle. And I'm hoping that there's NHIS card for healthcare,
which doesn't cover everything.
And then I suspect this person as a spouse, because this person is 26 years means that their children will be much older. So their children will be probably teenagers or older. So some of them may be in university.
And he's paying fees.
Charlie, that is serious. So either the person is taking loans or the person lives in a family house. Because that's why the loans are also very popular.
Because when I meet myself, I know they see top.
Charlie, and you are doing like 3 jobs.
Charlie, no. This guy must be there. No,
2,630 cedis take home pay.
Because I'm sure that he is even crediting so many things, most likely. And by the time the month is gone, he's having to share all of these things because people will come with all their demands. I want my.
So if the person is taking a loan, what tends to happen is that a lot of these government workers, the loan companies sort of take the money from source. So we need to ask this person whether the 2,600 is before loan or after loan, because some of them go and take loans and then there's deductions. So I'm not sure if this 2,630 is pre-loan or post-loan. So please send me more information on this, because a lot of them take salary loans. So maybe your salary is 4K, but you've taken a loan to do to develop your house. So then the controller pays and then they deduct from source. I don't know. So I just want to know more. The person who sent this message, I really want to. Sky is scandalized by the 2,630.00 Ghana cedi salary. Because I have single people working in the media environment here who are paid more than this, and who have worked less than 2 years, right? Who have no dependents. So if somebody who's 2,600 cedis,
yes, for
26 years, then
that's a very ungrateful nation to a man who.
No, but we need to be sure this is what the average teacher is paid. Maybe this person is an outlier.
There are people. Look, there's even a message. This one is saying what? Somebody says what? Good morning. The salary issue is cutting across. I'm an immigration officer and I receive 2,600 Ghana cedis plus after all deduction.
How many years of immigration work? Because for me, the key point is 26 years in any profession. Godfred, we have worked in this job for like 18 years or whatever years. 26 years in any profession should mean that, and this person has a master's degree, should mean that you are rising to manager level. Do you get me? Like, if you've done journalism for 26 years in a proper organization, 26 years old.
Bernard, don't go there.
26 years.
Bernard, not go
26 years.
Bernard Avle.
Go
do you want us to start talking about this?
No, I'm coming. Go for it.
Don't go there.
We are in 2023. So 26 years means you're working since 1997.
Yeah.
You are telling me that someone working from 1997.
When I had just left.
Come on. Come on.
Don't go
2,600.
Bernard.
2,000.
You want us to move from teachers to journalists?
I'm just saying that 26 years is a lot. So Sky should factor that into the discussion.
I should hold on what? You want us to go there?
The journalists.
So deal with your teachers.
Are you saying that 26 years?
26 years in a profession.
That means the person is like, if you do a job for 26 years, you are probably like at manager level.
No, but it depends on the structure of the institution you work in. You understand? It depends on the structure of the institution you work in. So because to get to, you might have worked there for 26 years, but there might be barriers to progress based on different things.
The person is a master's degree holder. So you'd expect that the person could be like a director or something, or something.
Potentially could be, but that's what I'm saying, that it depends on the structure of the institution you work in. You understand? Because the way our system also works.
So okay, let's put it this way. I get your point. So for example, if you are working in a hotel and you started out as maybe a waiter, if you develop yourself in the way this person has developed themselves
within the
first
system,
degree to master's degree, I'm not sure you'll still be a waiter for 26 years.
In a proper environment, you should be able to rise to a certain point within the organization.
And this person is teaching,
and
this person says she started as a subject teacher. So let's assume the person is teaching maths.
The same school.
The person doesn't say. But the person says, I'm now teaching at the secondary school level. So it means they're starting from primary school. And they've done it for 26 years. So this person, and the person has a master's degree.
Yes, at secondary school level. So that means the person is in the public school system.
So master's degree, 2,600 is very small. Because if you compare that to dollars,
and you
for 26 years, 26 years. It's small.
But I'm also saying
it's basically saying it's not the government's point.
I'm not scandalized.
Government's point is that it's not the same. It's not different for any other profession.
That's what we do here.
Are you sure?
Generally,
in the whole country.
Yes.
26 years.
26 years.
It does not matter.
No, there are intervening factors. Government. If somebody stayed in an organization for 26 years and was, say, like a driver, right, and the person did not add value to themselves or could not, and that they were still a driver for 26 years, I understand you. But I'm saying this is a knowledge-based sector.
Yes.
A knowledge-based sector like teaching or even media or medicine. If somebody has risen as a normal graduate and gotten a master's degree in 26 years, they obviously have risen in the profession. Do you know me? So it's a problem for me.
Bernard.
It's a problem. He's trying to say that it's a national problem. It's not just teachers who would have taught for 26 years, get a master's degree and be getting 2,600.
Yeah, but we contextualize the discussion, which is what? They are at the heart of what we aspire to reach.
Yeah.
They are the people who are producing the next doctors. They are the people producing the next policemen. So all these people who are needed for the journalists too. They are the people who are training all of these people.
Yeah.
So if someone who has taught for 26 years has seen all of these people, because if you go through his profile, the kinds of people who would have gone through his class, you can point that, someone today out of his class is a teacher, a doctor, or this, that. 26 years, because since 1997. And so when you contextualize the discussion like that, and you situate his pay within that,
it's a problem.
It's
no, because
very difficult.
Let's be honest. Master's degree, 26 years, 2,600 it's very bad.
It's a bad.
Let's not even. I feel like if somebody started working with me for 10 years and the person came with a normal degree and the person stayed with me for 10 years with a master's degree, they will not be earning 2,600 cedis. I mean, you've paid people salaries.
I still pay salaries.
Employed people. Are you telling me that if you hire somebody in the company you were working for previously, and the person came in with a normal degree, and the person stayed with you for 10 years, and the person had gotten a master's degree in those 10 years, maybe like an online journalist, are you telling me they don't earn 2,000?
But that's why I'm saying that. Because in the environment I worked in, No, hold on. In the environment that's what I'm saying, depends on the structure. The environment I worked in, it was a foreign-owned company. Anybody who was employed by me will tell you that they were paid way above the normal market price.
I know what you're trying to say with like the average newspaper or low media house, but if you have a serious establishment, even for a decade of work with a master's degree. And see, the reason I'm saying is that a lot of the work the teacher does is documented work. A lot of the people who claim to work in some of these other professions, we don't even know what they are doing. The point is that you can't be a teacher and not work. Because you can skive. There's a British expression called skiving, where you can come to work and just be moving around and say you're working. But if you are teaching in a school for 10 years, even if you are lazy, you teach. Because you have 40 scripts to mark. You have to prepare lecture notes. You have to do so. Teaching.
There are days where you have supervisors visiting.
There are some jobs that if you do, you can't say you won't work. You know, and if this is true that, and I don't want to generalize this is the average, but this person is texting me, and the person seems highly educated and very conscientious.
Let me read a message for you. Let me add one. This one says,
serious.
Bernard, I began teaching in 2014 as a class 4 teacher, where I was paid below 500 Ghana cedis in a private school.
Okay.
In addition, I taught Ghana class 1 to JHS 3 and was still paid 500 cedis. On a normal day, I'm always busy because...
This is 2014?
Yes, back then. On a normal day, I'm always busy because I always have a class to teach, even to the point where I had to skip break sometimes in order to meet my work schedule for a day. The highest I have made in the mainstream is 1,000 Ghana cedis. But I make more teaching outside school. So after COVID, I've specialized in home tuition and education consultancy. And I'm making more, as well as I have more time for myself and my family.
So he's left the...
Yes, to find his own niche.
So the highest he was paid while he was there was 1,000
cedis.
This is a private school.
Yes.
Wow.
It says, I run both the Cambridge and the national curriculum. Now I teach students from basic schools to senior high school. And it's great for me. I have time to educate myself as well. And to be effective in my teaching.
So how much is he able to get now?
And that's a question I must ask.
Because that's also serious. So you're saying that from 500, he only rose to 1,000.
Yes.
In the years that... So this is maybe 2014 to 2020. So 6 years, only 1,000 cedis. COVID. But during COVID, he left the private school and started doing his own teaching. And he's earning... So probably if he teaches 3 families, and they even pay you 1,200 per child, that's like 3,600.
Yeah.
So you see, people... So the education system may lose this person to private home tuition. So the 40 kids who may be depending on her for teaching in a public school will not get, or a private school will not get her. And she'll be doing it for rich people and getting the 1,500.
Yeah.
So we've lost this person.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. Because if you
So are you arguing that private schools pay worse than public schools? Is that your argument? That the average private school will pay teachers worse than a public school?
That's what the question I was asking with the private school was a concern that 2 teachers have brought up.
Yeah, we should compare that.
Because, I've almost always stuck to my tier system, which today you reminded me.
Tier 1
schools should be paying their because...
So if you teach at, for example,
you cannot be International... paying $14,000 and then you pay 500 cedis.
Let's mention the school. So for example, Nimli teaches at Christian High. Or you have TIS, SOS.
Lincoln, those people.
Alpha, Beta. These are the big schools.
Yes.
Now you're saying the middle ones are the ones that are now coming.
So the ones that are even old but have been there for a while. I don't want to mention names. They know themselves.
The middle level schools.
Yes. Then the third tier.
Is Martin the Porridge public or private?
Martin the Porridge is private. Martin the Porridge is tier 1.
Do they pay that much fees?
They don't pay as much fees as
the tier 1.
As the tier 1s, but I say tier 1.
What about a school like Christ the King?
Christ the King is a tier 1.
Christ the King is a tier 1.
But they don't pay that much fees.
Yeah, but
so
I want the church.
I want you to do the tiers on school fees, not on quality.
Yes.
So, for example, Ancilla School, Martin de Porres, Mary Mother of Good Counsel, these are church schools. They teach well, but they don't charge that high school fees.
But what is
what
is considered high? So if you paid 4,000 Ghana cedis a term, would that be high?
That's middle. Because people are paying
10,000 Ghana cedis.
So if you pay between 3,000 to 5,000, it's middle.
Okay. Now, if you have a school that pays school fees maybe at grade 4 for 4,000 Ghana cedis, 4th grade.
That's like upper level of middle.
So if they are paying 4,000 in grade 4, their GHS is paying 5,000, 6,000.
And then when they are doing the international curriculum, it's more.
More, yes.
So such a person should tell you their fees, their salary, then we can compare. Because this 26-year person...
Because those ones are the ones that are child.
Yes, this 26 person is teaching in a public school. Now, if you are teaching in a school that charges, say, 4,000 for class 4, and you are a class 4 teacher, I expect you to be paid more than 2,630 because of what this guy is saying. Yeah, but the other point you shouldn't forget is that the government schools, government pays the teacher's salary. If you go to the person teaching this private school you are talking about, they have to spend money on infrastructure. They have to build the school themselves. They have to provide all the amenities. They have to feed the students. So it's much more
electricity bills, everything is on them.
So maybe you could even say in another country, if government could intervene with some subsidy, then they could even reduce the private school fees. Do you get me? So if like the government could say, we will pay 10% of the salaries of private school teachers, then you can say that there should be a way in which the government can ask the schools to also reduce their fees a bit.
Yeah. But
I was thinking that during COVID, that was what we could have done, to say private schools are as important as public schools because they fill an important gap. You go to Kaswa, there are a lot of private schools. So you could say, pay the private school teachers better by 10%, or we'll pay 10% of their salaries. But reduce the school fees so that more people can enter.
Yeah. But another interesting thing which we can factor into this conversation is, there was an observation I made. So most of the time when I go to watch my football team train, they train in a public school, on a public school park. Okay. So for instance, this teacher who is earning 2,630, something that caught my attention was I realized that as soon as it's around 1 or 2, most of the teachers who were parents would go pick up their kids.
From which school?
From private schools. I'm talking about
public school parents.
Parents
have their kids in private schools.
Public school teachers.
Teachers,
yes,
have their kids in private school.
Their kids, the one, at least the place I was at.
They will not let their child come to the school that they're teaching.
From the pitch that I had been on for the past month and a half,
you didn't
my
see
observation,
most of them will go
around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. You would see at least 50 or 60% of the teachers who are parents leave to go and pick up their kids, or their kids are brought to them
from a private school.
From a private school, they wear different uniforms. You know the government schools, they wear uniforms. Just coming wearing green.
So 2 points. So 2 points there. The teacher in a public school may not even be confident enough to bring their child to the school that they teach in.
And then two, if they are attending a private school, it costs more.
So how are they finding money to pay?
Finding money to even
pay? With the public
teacher's salary.
Maybe their spouse is subsidizing.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's also something you put in the equation.
Or they could be teaching on the side.
Yes, because, and this point, sorry, before you come in, the point you made about this person, I had a teacher who used to teach in a school, all right, and they were then making some time to come and teach my children. One of them said to me, look, when I calculated how much I was being paid in the school and the stress they were giving me, I decided to add value to myself and become a homeschool teacher. And this guy was earning more for teaching at home than working. So he resigned from the school, and he has like 5 kids that he teaches in different times. Morning, he'll come and do 2 hours here. When he puts together how much he gets, it's more than the teacher, the one he's getting, and there's less stress. Right? He can reschedule the times to suit his own agenda. So I think there's a point to also be made about the low pay in the private schools. Because when the teachers realize that they can add value to a child at home, and the parent realizes that I want to hire this child to come and do 2 hours a day, that 1,500 is paid. If he does 1,500 for 4 families, that's 6,000. The school will not give him 6,000.
That's right.
You see? So there's also a high attrition rate for teachers in private schools because of the low pay.
Yep.
Right? Yep. But let's read a few more comments.
In the meantime, though, if you are a homeschool teacher, please get in touch.
But you need some.
Yes, but the ruling rule is that you should speak and be able to teach ever.
And then this one there.
Yes, you do proper homeschooling. Get in touch. But you should be able to speak and teach ever.
What class are you looking for?
Oh, I'm looking for someone who can teach, children between the ages of 4, 10.
I'll tell you something else happened to me. So my teacher who was helping my kids, he got a job outside teaching and he left. So funny thing, this guy was teaching in a school. And then he sort of got like 4 or 5 kids to teach. So he left the school and started teaching me and other people's kids. Then he got a job he had applied for. This guy has a master, I think has a master's degree. He got a job in civil society in an NGO, and he left all my children and everybody that child is going to do that work. So the school system has suffered twice. And this guy was very good.
Very good, Charlie.
So but the good thing was that he got me another teacher. From the same school that he was teaching, who had also stopped teaching and was now doing private school teaching.
I see.
So now there's like a homeschooling network of teachers who are like, Charlie, the school is not paying us well, so we are going to work on our own. And he managed to get me 1 teacher from that network, which is how I'm surviving today. But he's got a job with this NGO and he's happy. He brought the letter. I said, Charlie, they call me.
The pay is big.
Actually, no, funny out. It's just very interesting. And I won't mention this guy's name. The salary was about, obviously more than he was getting in a school. because the salary was around 4,000
4,000
for a private sector NGO type job.
There are some other conditions.
Yes, I think the school was not paying him that much, so he felt like this 4,000 is more secure, and then there were also better conditions.
Yeah.
So he left.
Of course, you get some health related.
Yeah. And this guy was one of the best teachers. He was very patient with the guy, so I had to. Luckily, he got me another teacher.
Wow.
You know, imagine if he didn't give me, if I didn't treat him well, he didn't give me another teacher.
By now you are teaching.
You know. So yeah, Sky is looking for a teacher.
Yeah, that's right. Right. You should be able to speak and teach.
Write it.
Write it. Yes. That's. But you should.
But how much will you pay?
Oh, you want me to disclose that?
What's the range?
I mean, something in between.
How many kids? How many kids will the person teach?
4 kids.
Hey, 4 kids.
Yeah.
Between what classes?
So that's what I'm saying.
Between like class 2?
Yeah, from
class 2 to class 6.
Yeah, not class 6, class 4 there.
Class 2 to class 4.
Yeah, that's right, that range.
Hey, Sky.
Yeah.
4 kids?
Yeah. Well,
it's a lot though. Don't you think you need 2 teachers to do this work? 4 kids?
Yeah, 4 kids.
You know, side, but you know that teaching 4 kids homes is more difficult than teaching 20 kids in a school.
Yeah, that's true.
Because once you come to their house,
you are personalizing the teaching,
and they are alone to themselves in their house. Some of them are Dadabi and things.
Yeah.
So 4 kids is a lot too.
Yeah, but Dadabi rule doesn't apply in my home.
So your house, they can do them like normal school.
Yeah, I don't run my home.
You empower them to.
Yes. It's not a democracy.
So please call me and I'll manage this thing for Sky.
Let me read this comment. This comment is, it's touching. It says, "Good morning, Mr. Sky and Mr. Bernard. Please, I want to support this teacher who is taking 2,600 Ghana cedis a month. Send me his Momo contact, Abba, and I will send him my support."
Okay,
This is bad. This is coming in from Rosemary in Geneva, Switzerland. Rosemary, we'll get in touch with you. This one says, "Good morning, Bernard. In Korea, not just education, but they use practical education to develop. Only in Ghana, teachers are not respected because we do not know the value of education." It's coming in from John Abbott in Saku Mono.
Okay.
This one says, "Good morning, Bernard. I am a teacher in a private school, Kutubabi, as well as the head teacher. My salary is 600 Ghana cedis."
Oh, stop. Stop. I don't know if you're...
Meanwhile, I spend 9 hours with the learners in the classroom.
Stop that.
Class teacher. 600 Ghana cedis.
It must be a private school.
Yeah, it says a private school in Kutubabi.
So this will likely be a tier 3.
No, I mean not even tier 3. This might be tier 5 or something. Because I mean 600
tier
Ghana.
5, tier 3.
No, in government categorization.
Okay.
This is tier 3.
The tier 3 schools are almost the same as the public schools.
Charlie, but this 600, if this person was in a public school, will be paid much more.
Yes, because of other allowances. Because in the public school there are unions.
600 for a head teacher.
They have unions and other things.
600 Ghana cedis. You are spending 9 hours with the teachers. But now 600 divided 600 by what? 600 divided by what?
But don't you think
30.
that this ladies' organization should be doing more? Helga.
Fred Jabano, what's
the name of the organization?
Helga.
Is it Nakas? They have a name.
Nakab or something. I saw their
Charlie, because you can't be paying a head teacher.
Dr. Ampedu.
Yes, you can't be paying. What's the name of the organization?
Dr. Ampedu.
Nakab. Yeah, yes. Charlie, they should be able to regulate this. Charlie, a head teacher in a primary school passes
600 Ghana cedis. Well, I mean, then we should ask, what's today is the what do you call it? The minimum wage in Ghana, really?
It's probably lower than the minimum wage. And a minimum wage person will earn like 400 cedis a month.
And a teacher in a private
school. A head teacher.
10 hours. No.
And this school is Kotobabi, OJ's Kotobabi.
Charlie.
No, if he's a teacher in a private school, as well as the headmaster and earns 600, you're right. I will have to add tier 5 to my.
Yeah, this is
bottom tier.
Charlie. At the shock. Anyway, go on.
More comments. This one says, "Good morning, City CBS. I started teaching immediately after senior high school due to the love I had for the profession. I continued during my university days till I graduated from school. I stopped last November due to demotivation and the lack of support from other teachers. I was seen as someone who took the job like my father's work by my colleagues at the staff common room. My headmistress partially comments during staff meetings because I always stayed back to help the weak students, and this was bringing parents to visit the school for their appreciation. This is coming in from someone who calls himself Abdul Halim from Adenta.
I have the breakdown of the salary structure of the GES for teachers.
Okay.
Starting from, and this is in how many levels? The levels are about
they have levels,
20. They are about 25 levels.
Okay.
25 levels. So it starts from level 1 to level 25H. So level 1L and then level 1H. So 1 low, 1 high, 2 low, 2 high, all the way to 25.
Okay.
So the lowest
25.
So the lowest level, this person earns 434 cedis net.
Huh?
All right. So this person's annual basic salary, and this is 2023. So this 2023 January I'm talking about. So single spine salary structure GES effective this year. The lowest level teacher will earn 434 cedis a month. That's the lowest level. And in the level 1L, there are 8 steps. So this person's salary will increase to 441, 448, 455, 462, 470. So by the time the person gets to level 1H, then the salary would have increased from 434 to 493. Then he has entered level 1H. Those in the 1H, their salary range is between 493 Ghana cedis to 542. When they move to level 2, salary range is 501 cedis all the way to 604 cedis. All right? So this is level 2. Now it goes all the way so you have level 2 low, 2 high, 3 low, 3 high. You go all the way. So this is almost 50 steps because you have 1L, 1H, all the way to 25H. You get me? So it's 50 levels of teaching. The highest level of teacher under the GES for basic, this is basic salary structure. So this is for schools. It's for all schools. Level 25H, the salary is now 8,271 cedis.
8,000
per month. This is the highest level of teacher. This is level 25H, the net salary.
And at what what level of teaching in the context of is it secondary or basic school or?
I think this applies across. So the levels have been listed. So there are levels and steps. So there are 50 levels. 1L is 1 low, 1H is 1 high, and it goes to 25 high.
Wow.
And then within each level there are 7 to 8 steps. All right. Now I'm bringing this because somebody was teaching for 26 years, and the person's salary is 2,630. Now I can easily find you what level the person is. This 2,630, if you move within, the person is at level 15. Level 15H, step 4. So this person who is earning 2,630, if you go to the salary structure that I have in front of me, the person is level 15. Level 15 high, and the person is within that level at stage 4.
Wow.
So they can move to 16L, and then they go to 16H, 17L, all the way. So they still have a long way to go.
Oh no. 26 years.
Yeah, so this 26. So by the time you reach level 50, you jump like no football. By the time this person who is 26 years of teaching at level 15H, if she lives longer, maybe she'll get to level 20. So by the time they get to level 20, then they will start earning level 20, start earning 4,000.
Oh, no.
Level 20, 4,000. It's serious, Oscar.
It's
serious.
It's not just.
It's serious. So back to the main point I made. So we're saying that the educational sector must be prioritized as the center of Ghana's economic development agenda. And by education, we talk about human development. Then the teacher must be prioritized within that educational sector in terms of their training, in terms of their motivation, in terms of their remuneration, and then in terms of their retention. Okay. Now, it's easy to say, But the devil is in the detail. Let me go back to my teacher who said they earn 2,600 to make the point. So this person has a master's degree, is a subject teacher as against a pupil teacher. So subject teachers are more qualified than pupil teachers. This person, or generally, this person take-home pay is 2,600. We found out that her level is 15H, step 4. Loves teaching, lives in Accra, teaches at the secondary level, has 4 children, married, and husband was a teacher too, but now lecturing at all the universities.
Okay.
Until the husband started lecturing, they were taking loans and doing extra classes and petty trading.
Oh, Charlie.
So this is the story of many teachers. Extra classes, loans, and petty trading. 2 of the children have completed university. That's amazing.
Charlie.
One is in medical school.
Wow.
And the last one is in SHS2.
No, this must be some wonder. I think we have to interview the person.
Charlie, guys.
At some point.
Husband was teaching, has moved to university. First, 2 of the children have finished university. So they are presumably working. One is in medical school, and the last one is in SHS2. So medical school fees are pretty high.
Yeah.
Thank God we don't have to pay rent. We have health insurance that takes care of the family. Ben, it's not been easy. It's all the grace of God.
Wow, that's something.
So when you say Ghanaians are not resilient or Ghanaians are not hardworking, I think it's not fair. Because you have this, this is an average Ghanaian family. Teacher, lecturer, 4 kids. The woman is on a salary of 2,006. I don't even think the man will be earning around 7K as a lecturer. Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So if you put their salary together,
That's if he's even doing.
So if you put the family is about 10K, 4 kids, university.
Charlie.
So they were adding petty trading, loans, and extra classes.
So you're talking about a regular teacher who will be selling petty care in the classroom?
No, maybe they'll do something and add to that.
Not necessarily in the classroom.
So based on what I've said, based on what I'm saying, this person should be given accommodation.
Yeah.
If they haven't been given already. So maybe the husband should be in a university and they should live on campus. This person should have an NHIS that works
properly.
All right. And if they don't live on campus, should be given accommodation and also some transportation allowance.
Their children should go to school free of charge.
Now, why is this important? Now, if this person is poorly paid, which we know they are, and they have to do extra classes, it means that the 70 students in her class will suffer. Because if she has to go and do 2 families extra classes to subsidize her income, to supplement her income, and she has to do petty trading, it means that the normal time on task will reduce. The quality of what she's giving these people will go down. Because she's thinking about extra classes. So if I have 70 scripts to mark, I will give them objectives. Because I can't finish marking 70 scripts and go and do extra classes. So you see how the thing cascades. So you have a poorly paid teacher. The focus is shifting to extra classes. And there's even moral hazard there. Because if I have 2 of the kids in the class whose parents can afford it, then I'll go to the house and teach them. So it then becomes my pet student.
Wow.
You see where the whole thing goes. Now the orange seller who is in this person's class, their child will not get extra classes. And you are even annoying the teacher by saying, please go, I don't understand the work. Because she has to add petty trading and extra classes. So at the end of the day, because of the poor salary, the average student is getting a poorer quality of teaching. And this is actually a good teacher who wants to teach, but practically cannot survive on 2,600. So what should we do? It's a serious conversation that needs to be had. And we are not saying we have the answers. We are highlighting the problem, which we admit there's a general problem of low pay in the society. But we are saying that teachers are so important to everything. Because a bad teacher will produce a bad doctor. That's the thing. A bad teacher will produce a bad president. A bad teacher will produce a bad journalist. So if the teacher is bad, it produces a bad everything.
Yep.
So if we want to correct the system, if the quality of teaching is good, a lot of things will be good. So teacher has multiplier effect than most. So maybe we can give the teachers a premium for multiplier effect. How many other professions go through teaching? Possibly everyone. So give them a multiplier. Find a way of increasing their remuneration or their motivation.
Oh, Bernard, I'm being told that the level 25 is a university level.
Okay.
So,
no, but GS doesn't pay. GS doesn't
someone
pay.
who understands the system is telling me that.
So 25H.
Yeah, it's a university.
So they agree that this person getting 2,600 is in level 15. Because when you look at the skill, that's what the person gets.
Wow.
So 26 years of teaching level 15.
26 years old.
It means she has to do 10 more years to get to level 20.
20. Oh no.
And you know it's sticky downwards. So to go up is tougher.
I think some people have sent voice notes.
We can play a couple and then we read some comments. Okay, we're having some technical challenge with that. We'll just read
some comments.
Normal comments on this.
Okay, this one says, good morning, Bernard. I was fortunate enough to be educated in the UK from primary level. I struggled with maths until I had a lady maths teacher who started to take extra steps to help. Basically helping some of us with mathematics, with storytelling and pictures and objects. She also introduced us to Microsoft Excel in 1996, and her class, everyone did extremely well as a result of what she did, and many of us aced the exams. This one says, hey, Bernard, you will cry if you see the payslip of a government school teacher. You will weep. Loans all over.
My wife teaches at SHS. I see her upset with her salary. I wish she would stop, but she says that's what she wants to do. She's a graduate teacher. She earns 2,200 gross.
Not even.
It means she's around level 11. Because if 15H is earning 2,600, this one is 2,200 gross.
Hey! This one says, oh, Godfred, they are underpaid. My lady friend teaches at Ashaiman. She's paid 300 Ghana cedis a month. This is in connection with a private school teacher.
This one is in Godfred's level 6.
And this is in 2023. A young lady who basic 5.
Bukati in New Ningo says, Bernard, the 2,630 is among even the higher ones. Most teachers I know earn between 1,000 cedis and 1,800.
How do you?
He's right. It's in that category. So the bracket, in fact, let me go back to that. This person is right. So the 1,000 to the 1,800 bracket will be between level. Give me 1 minute. Level 7L all the way to level. From level 7L all the way to level 13L. So from level 7 to 1,000 to 1,800, level 7 to level 13. So a large chunk of teachers are in that level, 1,000 to 1,800. So even the 2,600 is an exception. So 26 years is a long time teaching, right? Read a few more comments.
So this one says, Bernard, at the pre-tertiary level, the level you teach doesn't affect your salary. It is your rank. So ask the teacher about his or her rank in the GES. If he does get promoted, we will be stuck.
Well, somebody can explain that. Bernard, it takes about 20 years to get to principal superintendent in GES. Their salary is not up to 3,000.
But why should it take 20 years?
Principal superintendent.
That's a good question you're asking as well.
What are the requirements for getting promoted? Is it going back to school or number of years you taught in a particular level? Or?
You see, and you are right. You see, because we think that when you get a master's degree, it means you're promoted. If you didn't get GS approval for your master's, or if you didn't do a GS approved course, your master's will not add to your promotion.
So that's what.
So it's not just the master's.
It's the structure of where you work.
It's the structure. You can have a master's degree, but they'll say it was not approved.
But is it the right structure though?
Yes, the 2,630 is, which I saw at level 10, it was 15. So what I'm saying is that I don't know what that 15 means in terms of the rank. Okay, but the qualifier is that it's not just how many years you teach, but if you are teaching and you are doing the right things, then you'll be promoted within the structure.
But what does that say then for a certain level of, so for instance, let's say there's somebody who comes to run education in Ablikuma West, and by virtue of the person has a particular approach to education in Ablikuma West and manages to transform Ablikuma West. So exam scores are up, attendances are high. You basically see a significant change. And then maybe Bosa North notice the work that is being done, and Bosa North District Education Office say, okay, this person has done a great job here. We want to bring that person. And so there's kind of like you're actually allowed to say, I can offer you a house, accommodation, transport, X. Would you leave Ablekuma West to come to Busa North within the same structure of the Ghana? I'm just saying,
the person
should it not
no.
be possible?
Good question. The question you are asking raises the question of the politics of even the way GES works. Number one, do we even reward people on the basis of performance? So this person, you are describing an ideal situation where we can tell that this person has added value. For most of these people, it's an internal struggle. I've gone to do a master's degree. I've stayed here for 10 years. My approval has come through because somebody at the top likes me. So they've raised me. So I don't think it's a meritocracy.
And that's a general, I think that's also a general public sector thing here. Because I know of some of the places where you can, they will hire you as a master's degree holder. But I will tell you that it can only kick in after you earn a master's degree whilst you are within.
And then they will also do a promotional interview. So sometimes you have to have people in the promotional. It's very complex. But another information we got in. So this our case study of 26 years is a principal superintendent.
Wow.
So principal superintendent is really high, earns 2,600. Luckily, first child is working, second one is doing national service, third one is in medical school, fourth one is SHS2. So she's almost done. So by the time the doctor
finishes, it takes you,
unfortunately,
how many years? 20 years to get there? Or what?
No, but the first child, so now the first child is working. So the first child will not depend on them again, hopefully.
Imagine what they went through.
Then the second child is doing national service. So maybe 2-3 years is working. Medical school. So you see, so let's come back to this. So if this person's child finishes medical school, finishes housemanship, and gets a job in America, will you tell them not to go?
After everything we made.
So you say, Charlie, stay and help. You say, okay, so let's make it interesting. Go for it. So let's assume this person, her son, or let's say her daughter, finishes medicine at, say, Legon or Tech. That's a housemanship at 37. And then they post the person to the place, Wa East. If you were the mother, would you say they should go?
You should wake up at dawn.
No, let's just be honest.
This is your mother's decision.
Rational.
But the person, the research you read said that a lot of people choose professions and things
based on
their
parents.
So you are the father of this person. She's your third born daughter. She just finished medical school at Tech. And she has been posted to Wa East as the only second doctor there.
It's her decision. It's not my decision.
Yeah, but if she comes to you for advice, what would you say?
She should make her own decision. It's her decision. She's no longer a child.
Your
girlfriend is not the ideal Ghanaian mom.
Your girlfriend is a very liberal parent.
She will come at dawn. She will come at 3:45.
No, she will call you the mother and say, Koku, Mama Puduna. They just then he said, Koku, I'm your mother. When they pull that card, when they pull that card,
when I took up my position in Kenya, the Garissa thing had just happened. So when I approached my mother, I have been given a job posted to Kenya for the next couple of years to work. She was like, "Hey, Kokumanko, you're mukuni power."
Our mothers.
I was like, that's not a debut. Almost done with terrorists. I'm a kunipa.
Two important ideas here based on what Godfred has said. I think that there should be a premium for people taking up postings to deprived communities, which premium should be aggressively enforced, so that your Busa North example versus Ablekuma West example, I think at the same level of teaching at Busa North should get a better salary than Ablekuma North.
Yes.
So there should be, the salary structure should...
For who? For the person who's being sent
Yes.
there.
The salary structure should have inbuilt bonus the further you are from an urban area. So if you move out of Tamale to Busa North, you should get probably a 15% premium. That's point number one. Okay. Now this must be rigorously enforced so that you balance out. Because if Ablekuma North in Accra is getting 2,630, at least they're in Accra, their kids can go to Martin de Porres.
In fact,
if the person is in Busa North, the schools that they can get may not be the same. So if you want to get them to go there, add a bit more accommodation and money and all that kind of thing.
But in fact, there was a message that came earlier. I was about reading it when you came in. The message was suggesting that the pay levels are across the board. It does not matter where you are. In other words, even if you are living in Nankpanduri, you are competing in terms of the same salary with somebody who is in Accra.
Yeah, that's the point he just made, which needs to change.
That's what I'm saying, that what you need to do is give an incentive for people to go to rural areas. But okay, actually, let's think about it more carefully. If you live in Accra, let's assume you teach at Tunga. 2,600 can do much less than they can do in Busa North.
Yes, that's the point.
Because cost of living is higher in Accra than in Busa North. So the incentive for going to Busa North should not necessarily be financial. It could be some accommodation, some health type thing, which will make it easier to get good teachers to go there. Right? Because if you pay me 2,600 and I live in Tunga and I teach in Sempe, a lot of the 2,600 will go into accommodation. If I live in Chokom, all my money is gone. But if I'm in Busa, no, that 2,600 can offer me cheaper accommodation. So what I'm just saying, that we need to think more carefully about this. Okay, we shouldn't just make a sweeping recommendation. But what is clear is that if we want the country to be competitive, we must make this 26-year teaching person not have any incentive to leave the teaching profession, because the person is being retained well. All right. Now it's complicated when you start getting to the nitty-gritty of the details. But all of us sitting here say 26 years of teaching, 2,600 is not on. It's not on. Yeah. We'll wrap up with a couple more comments.
Maybe there may be need for us to decentralize education and the payment for the same, so that if
it is decentralized, education is supposed to be, yes, education is very decentralized on paper.
Yeah, but
because it's run from the district office, which is why I made the reference to the fact that, for instance, per the point you were making, if you were teaching in Ablekuma North and you have done an outstanding job, and Busa North has education needs and feels that this person's skill set is what we need, perhaps the appropriate system would be that they should be able to make you an offer, even within the system that says, if you are earning 1,005, we'll give you 2,000 plus ABCD to move up north.
Let me just end with some education from a teacher. Diploma in education puts you at level 14.1 H level. So I can check that. So that's the grade of senior superintendent 2.
Diploma in education.
Degree B.Ed puts you on 16.1 level. Grade of principal superintendent. After the principal superintendent, the rest are promotions. Assistant director 2, 18, 1H. Assistant director 1, 19, 1H. With GS staff with responsibility, allowance like HOD, housemaster, and those things, there's some other money coming in. So, key point, if you have a diploma in education, you're on level 14.1. If you are degree in B.Ed, you are level 16.1. Assistant director is level 18. Let me just check assistant director and so let me just check for 18.1.
Can I enter straight
and 19.1? Let me just check 18.1 for you. So assistant director level 18.1. How much do they earn? Give me 2 seconds to check. Level 18 low, they take home 3,200.
3,200.
And the assistant director 1, 18H.
Spend 8 hours.
So basically what they're saying is that the highest you can get is 3,500 unless you are promoted. And he's saying that after that level is all promotion. So 3,500.
But do those promotions come with increase in salary?
Yes,
they do.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the point he's making is that majority of the teachers will earn below 3,500. Only few will get to the above 3,500 level. That's the interpretation of this. So if you work in the system and you rise through normally, the highest you can earn is 3,500 unless you are promoted to the director level, where then you start earning what we consider to be useful. We'll take a break. Nathan, tell me something quickly about...
Well, Vodafone Business presents Too Much Business, the #1 mobile plan for businesses in Ghana today. With the Vodafone Too Much Business, you have the best mobile plan on the market that gives your business the best value. That means you have the flexibility to choose voice, data, and SMS packages that suit your business's size and ambition. Send start to 0507 779 000 or email vodafonebusiness.gh@vodafone.com to sign up now. Vodafone, further together. Are you looking for a prime property to buy or invest for immediate returns? With 50,000 USD, you can own one of the 3-bedroom apartments in Sakumono Estate for immediate haircut-free returns and benefits. We also sell and install original Fuji elevators and escalators in your high-rise buildings and malls. You can call or WhatsApp 0200 535 515 or visit us at Sakumono near the Celebrity Golf Course. This way, property investment, your haircut-free investment.
Come back into the honors series. Kokuda Akrankra talks about the Anglo and their movement from where they originally came to their current location. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation. Enjoy the best of convenience and security on AT Money. Carry out all your mobile money related transactions on the go. Send or receive cash, pay bills, move cash in and out of your bank account from anywhere at any time. Airtel Tigo Money, your most secured and trusted mobile money service.
Push! Congratulations, a bouncy baby. It's time to feed your baby.
Yes. I want to thank you for your advice to go for the COVID-19 vaccination during my pregnancy. I was worried, but the way you assured me helped me a lot. I had my peace of mind from the fear of getting seriously sick with COVID-19 and also carried my pregnancy to full term without any complications. Now I have a bouncy baby.
I'm glad you took our advice. You see, every pregnant woman needs to know that the COVID-19 vaccine is safe for her and her unborn baby.
You are right, Auntie Ness.
There are people going around spreading rumors.
Yes, so all kinds of wild rumors and misinformation. Look, I got pregnant after my first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Went for my second dose while pregnant. Yet, I carried it full term and just delivered a healthy baby. I will go for the booster on my first postnatal visit.
You were right not to listen to them. The vaccine protected you and your baby from severe COVID-19 illness and hospitalization and can protect all pregnant women and their unborn babies. Hey, please, attend to your precious baby.
My beloved baby.
The COVID-19 vaccine is safe for pregnant women and their unborn babies. Protect yourself, protect your baby, get vaccinated now. This message is from the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Service with support from USAID and partners.
Bet365 is now officially available in Ghana. My G, if you love sports, there's no better way to get a piece of the action. Build your own personalized bet with Bet Builder and select from popular markets on the biggest sports. You fit make multiple selections within a single match. For example, in football, you can choose first goal scorer and both teams to score to create your bet. Charlie, visit the official site at bet365.com.gh. Over 18s only. Terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
Fly Emirates first and business class and look forward to a journey that's as incredible as your destination. Start your holiday with delicious fine dining, impeccable service, and comfort that's out of this world. Sip drinks in our A380 onboard lounge on flights from Dubai and beyond. Watch a movie and drift into a restful sleep in flatbed seats. Treat yourself to Emirates first and business class. Fly Emirates. Fly better.
Hey, nowadays, germs are in the air. Aren't you concerned?
Concerned about what?
About the children, of course. In times like this, they sneeze, cough, and fall ill just like that.
This is why we need to give our children and ourselves a fighting chance with the maximum protection of Dettol soap. Dettol soap not only refreshes you, but it can be used for bathing and washing hands. So keep calm. Get Dettol soap.
Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Dettol is endorsed by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association.
This advert is FDA approved.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Welcome to another edition of your on-air series for Heritage Month 2023. This program is on Citi FM and Citi TV and is brought to you by the National Lottery Authority. Today we're looking at the history of the Anglo, who are one of the main Evers within the ever larger ethnic group. My guest is a historian who's been writing. He's also been talking on this series, giving us very important histories throughout the month of March. Kweku Dankwa is my guest. Kweku, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So this is very interesting. I'm an Ever, and I'm inviting you to come and tell me about the history of Anglos. Every proper Ever knows that at some point we were in Ngotie, and we do know that King Agokoli was a very evil king, and we are all told how we had to leave Agokoli and come to settle here. We also know that we have cousins in Togo, and we have cousins in Benin, and we have cousins in Nigeria. So most of us, we know this. But I just wanted to sort of start with that. Is Ngotie the original place where Evers came from, or the story starts before then?
Yes, thank you very much. So the story, depending upon who is narrating it, and it's divided to a lot of groups. There are some traditionalist historians from the Ewe land who even trace it back to Israel.
Okay.
And they make a contentious argument that from some of their practices, just like the Ghanaians, they also moved from Israel and came down through Egypt and finally settled in the Oyo Kingdom in Nigeria before finally the movement to Ngotie. You see, and for some, the historian knew that sort of all the ethnic group trying to trace themselves back to Israel is what we call Hamitic theory. We try to have something to do. And this history is mostly underpinned by Christian religious thought. So an attempt to link up to Israel, just to be part of the Christian idea of people being the original members of the Jewish tribes. So that is where it's burdened from. But as a concrete historical evidence of people moving from Israel to come, these are all based on conjectures and also certain social and religious practices which are akin between some of these ethnic groups and then some of the practices and customs we see in the Bible. So that is where the connection is.
So you don't think the Hamitic theory is proven? It's more later attempts to sort of synchronize Christianity with the groups. But the more legitimate theory would be somewhere within the African sub-region.
That is it, because when we look at the history of the Jews themselves, the idea of Jews coming to Africa to live in Egypt for over 200 years into slavery is well explained in the Bible about the Jewish exodus and so on. So if there's anything at all, the contact between the Africans and the Europeans occurred in Egypt. That is where the convergence point is. So that one, it is without doubt that even the Bible is an ample evidence of that contact between the Israelis or the Jews and the Africans. And if you read the work by de Graaf Johnson, The Vanished History of the Negroes, he talks about the fact that these Jews came to Africa and they were around Tunisia, Morocco, moved all the way to Senegal area. So when you test the gene of Fulanis, they do have a lot of Jewish blood in them. And that explains the Fulani color of having that fair color, because there was a massive interaction between the Jewish migrants and then the Fulanis who were then around the North Africa there. So that was his argument. I think that argument holds a lot of water, because if you go and if you look at the physical structure of the Fulanis, you can see this.
See some traces.
Yeah, traces of that.
Yes. So from Anglo oral tradition, we hear of Ketu, a place in Nigeria as where they originally came from. Incidentally, if you go to my hometown, it's Ketu North.
Yeah.
And then if you come to Aflawa, it's Ketu South. And I do know there's a place in Nigeria still called Ketu.
Yeah.
So can we say the Anglos came from Ketu as their original starting point?
Yeah, so that is true. So before I get that for you, so the Ewes are only group who are in Nigeria among the Yoruba Owo group. And that Owo group is what we call the Badagry. That is the water area immediately after Seme border.
Okay.
You see that they are in the watering area before you enter into Lagos. Anyone who have traveled by land will know this. So those Badagry group or the Owo people, they speak a form of Ewe mixed with some Yoruba language. So immediately after that, you get the Fon people who are also Ewes in Old Dahomey, now Benin. Then you come to...
so this fund, this is Angelique
Joe's people. Yeah. Or Jimon
Honsu.
Yes, people. So from there, then you come straight to Togo. Then you get the Aja people there who are also always speaking. Then you get the Gen. Gen is a mixture of Infante, Ewe, and Gan. So they are there. Some books call them Mina people. They are also there. So some of the Ewes call them the Sebe people who speak Sebe from Parliament, Abadrafo.
So their language is like a mixture of Ewe, Gan, and Fanti. And they live in the coast of Togo. They are called Gan people.
Yes, so up to Grady, all those people speak this, the Gan language. And then you come to Ghana, then the Ewes are here. And some are also in Togo. And the Ewes or the Ewe people, Ewe means people of the valley. People of the valley. So these Ewe people, that was the name that when they asked Chief Mrepo in Togo by the Germans, how do you people call yourself? We are called Ewe, meaning people of the valley. And so these Ewes in Ghana are also subdivided into the Anglo. Then you have the Tong, which are the reverend people. You see, the Anglo people are the people who have coiled themselves, okay? Or people who have stopped or moved.
I have coiled, I'm tired. So I have sort of mamua, and I'm sleeping.
Yes, sort of so, and then you have the Evedome people, who are the northern areas. So we have these three group making the total airway. So why the Ewe is the ethno-linguistic group, the sub-ethnic groups are the Anglo,
Evedome,
and the Tong.
And if you look at it, the Anglo are south. Tong, you can say
on
it's in the middle.
Side, yeah.
And then the Vedome is all the way up to Hohwe before you get to the Oti region. Yeah, I see. So is there any point at which they split up? What happened? How did they become those three groups?
So originally they were within Ketu, who was then Oyo Kingdom, one of the biggest kingdom. And then they moved from the Oyo and came to settle in a place, also within Dahomey, which they also called Ketu. So if you watch the recent film by the Women Kings, we see an example of that spirit where the king has created his new Dahomey kingdom, and they were the vassal state of the Oyo, and they have to come and fight them. Anyone who has not watched that film can, or anyone who has also watched it will see the example I'm giving. So at Ketu, they decided to move. And when they moved, the group split into two. So one went to River Mono area. The Mono area, they settled there. And some other group also moved to River Ahau and Mono area. And then they also settled there. Within that place, that is when those who were within the Ahau area were also a group that will later become the Aron, the Be, and the Fon. And out of it, one moved to Tado, one of the group moved to settle at Tado, and another group moved to settle at Ketu. So within this movement, one of the elders of the group that will become Anglo, led by their head called Be, and his son, Gamedra, and then their grandson, who will be Tobe Wenya. So Tobe Wenya and his group
came to... Be. His son Gamedra, and his grandson Wenya
came to settle at Nochi. So while there, his sister went to marry the king of Tado, which is Ashimedi, Aja Ashimedi. So that is where he went to marry. And out of that marriage came a issue of a child called Penny. And Penny will later be called Sri.
Sri.
Sri. Which means to respect. in every language. So while the Wenya was with in Agokoli's kingdom of Noche, his nephew, Penny or Sri, came to visit. And when he was coming, he brought the throne of Ashimedi, which was called Chipe. That is the Chipe. The rain.
Is water, by stone.
Yes, so it's the rain stone. Okay. And it is believed that this tool has a power of making rains. When there's no rains, it can be called upon, and then the rain will fall. So he brought this tool and came and settled among the people who were at Noche, and the group were called Dobeawo.
Dobeawo group. So you said Siri means respect. So it's from the word Suroda. So if they say, you know, if they say Suroda, it means to respect or to honor. So if they say Suromauda, and I think that Suroda is where they sort of shorten it to make it Siri.
Siri.
So because if you ask somebody what Siri means, they may not know, but that's the original word. Anyway, go on.
So when they came there, at first they were living all right under the first Agokoli. Then the new one that came, there were a lot of skirmishes fighting for rights and what have you between the original inhabitants of the Noche and then these new arrivals called the Dobeawo. Within this contestation, it led to enmity between them, and Agokoli decided to support its own. But prior to this enmity, there was a cordiality among them, and it was during this cordial period that even Agokoli will install or install Sri as the chief or the head of the people, with Wenya as an old man who was supporting them within that kingdom.
This is the Heritage Month on Air series. My guest, Kuku Dakankra. We're talking about the Anglo, but we're sort of tracing the history of Ebe generally, making reference to the 4 countries that they are found: Nigeria, Togo, Benin, Ghana. Now we're sort of narrowing down to the role of Notie, because we started from K2 as well. We'll narrow it down to how the Anglo came to settle and how they even got to places like Keta, Tegbi, Way, and all those places within the larger Anglo group. This is the On-Air series. Today we're looking at the Anglo group. My guest, Kuku Dakankra, walking us through the history of the Anglo group. So you've spoken about the, Sri, and then you've spoken about Wenya being an elder. You've spoken also about Agokoli and Notie. So you still haven't told us the separation in terms of the various groups, but let's continue. So after this, Sri was given this tool, the Chipe as you call it, what happened? How did they eventually come to where they live in the southern parts of the Volta region now?
Very good. So this enmity that arise between the original inhabitant and the brothers that have joined them, the Dobeawo, will escalate into such a stage that there was a time, there was a cause of death, which was apparently committed by the Dobeawo. But they made it look like one of the original inhabitants caused it. And this death, apparently, when Agokoli found out, he started to punish the Ewe. And that is why they say the wicked Agokoli. So he made them build even some of the houses with thorns, that is, thistles in it. And the people were being punished. So the hunter warriors among them, including Chachu Adelaja, Amesimeku Atoglo, Apromeda, Sri, and then one Eche Charlie, who came together and they decided to explore the area in what is currently the southwestern Ghana to look for a new place for their people to settle. So these are
hunters who were fed up with the Agokoli's punishment and decided to look for a new settlement. So we're talking of Chachu Adelaja, Mesimeku Atoglo, Akpolomada Sri, and Eche Chadia Charlie. These are the 4.
These are the 4.
Wonderful. So they find this place in southeastern Ghana. What do they do next?
So when they found all this area, they came and told their elder, Wenya. So when they informed Wenya, the people decided to form a very complex strategy. And the strategy was that when they are moving, they will walk backwards with their legs showing as if they are now coming in. So while they were moving, they will be moving backward with their back. And then their face will be showing Nochi. So when you see the step, you think the people are coming in.
So you think this is a path of somebody who came?
Who came
so
in.
You don't know that these guys had left.
So this is how they moved out of Nochi. And when they were moving, they got separated into 3.
Okay.
One group moved out to the northern part of what is today Northern Volta region. David Domenov, Alavanyo, Ketu, Peki.
So you're talking about Peki, Awudome, and also Alavanyo.
Alavanyo area.
That's the first group.
Very good. Okay. And then another group also moved to the central, Adakru, Ho, and the others, Abutia, and those areas.
Okay.
They also went there. And then the other group take southwestern path, trajectory, and they were led by Wenya and Sri. So these 2 groups, when they were coming, Wenya was so old that he was carried by 2 twins, okay, Echo Achu and then Eche Baje. The 2 of them carried the old man, and they moved all the way till they reached the the northern shore of the Keta Lagoon at a place they called Evetoku, which is now Atiteti near Apipe. So that is where
Atiteti near Apipe.
You are surprised I'm saying it right.
No, you're not saying it right. It's Apipe. It's like you are whistling. It's not Apipe.
That one you need some sort of okro to help.
Yeah. So you're talking of the southern group. So Keta, Tegbi, Way, and that group. So you have the northern parts, which is the Peki and Hohwe.
Yeah.
Then you have the middle parts, Ho, and then the southern parts, Tegbi, Hohwe. Sorry, Tegbi. What do you call it? Anglo and Way on the shore.
Yeah.
So this is the group which was led by Wenya.
Wenya and Sri.
Wonderful.
So when they reach there, then the old man, Wenya, and his people take the southwest move, passing through the creek, all the way moving until they hit the shore. And when they hit the shore, the old man exclaimed, I have now seen the sand, which in a way, if you can help me with the translation there, then the place was named Keji. That is the place where...
So it says we have arrived at the Samido Keji. We have arrived on top. We have arrived where the sun is.
So
Keji. So that's Keji.
Yeah, so that's the first place he settled.
Okay.
When they settled there for some time, then he saw the beautiful nature of the beach. And then they saw a sandbar, which is in between the Atlantic Ocean and the Keta Lagoon. Okay. So they decided to move further west. So in their movement, they went and see a beautiful, picturesque area, which the old man loved it. And he said that now he has seen the top of the sandbar.
I have seen the head of the sandbar. So the first one says, we've reached sand. So that's Keji. And then he says, I've now seen the head of the sand. That's Keta.
Yes, so when you reach there, that is how the Keta name came about.
Okay.
And from there, he moved on. After some time, he moved on, then he found Way, Toby, until he reached Auno. Then he said, Melon. The old man protested. Melon. Which means he has coiled.
I'm tired. So it's an expression. I'm tired. I'm reclining or I'm coiling. So that's how the Anglo name
came about. Okay. And that place, the big one that developed became Angloga, which is that is the big
main Anglo.
And then became the head of the community. So whilst there, we can say from there to immediately after his own, Sri and his group also make move from where they were from the north, and they also move all the way until they reach Koji, which is the first town that Sri also founded. And then from there he went on to go and found Fiaho, which is the chief's hut. So whilst at these places, when he invited his nephew to come to Anwaga, and then he came and settled with him. So that is why when we talk about the proper Anwa, that is Anwa Akwaku, we are talking about Koji, Tebi, Way, Keta, and Angloga. Those are the 5 major.
So that's the core
Anglo group.
Keta, Tebi, Way, Koji, and Angloga.
5 of them.
I see. So and they are on the same line, actually.
Yeah, they are on the same line. So when they arrived, they then discovered that they have left the Chipe stool back in Noche. So they decided that they're supposed to go back. But Adelaja's son, okay, who is Free Abeve, who instead of leading to go back and go and take the stool, refused to go. So as a result, a committee was formed to come together to go back to Agokoli's place to go and pick the stool. Because when they arrived, the land itself does not have a lot of resources. More so, when they were farming, there was no rain. The rains were also not available. So they have this tool that have rain-making prowess. So it's then dawned on them that their survival is also hinged on the availability of that stool. So for this reason, this meeting was called. And when it was called, 2 hunter warriors emerged, Amesimeku Atoglu and then Chachu Adalaja. So these two decided to go. At that time, the Wenya and Sri's clan were Adovia clan, who originally were ruling. But the new guy, Adalaja, who was also the hunter warrior with Amesimeku, Adalaja's clan was Bate.
The Bate clan.
The Bate clan. And then Amesimeku's clan was Like clan.
The Like clan.
The Like clan. So the two of them decided to go to Nochie to go and bring the stool. When they went back, Agokoli told them that Sri was a very stubborn person who has moved away from him unceremoniously. So he needs the head of Sri before he will give them back the stool. So when they were told, they came back and then they put the issue of Agokoli's demand. But then when they realized that Sri suffered from yaws, some sickness that has made the hand yellowish. So they saw that among them, one person called Foley, yes, who is a member of Gamale. Gamale's Lifeme clan also had that ailment too. So they decided, unbeknownst to Foley, they took him along. And when on the verge of getting to Nochie, they killed him. And Amesimeku Atoglu killed him. And then they chopped off his hand. And when they went to...
and they misrepresented that to be the body
of Sri. So when they went back to Nochie, they showed it. And then he said, where is the body? He said, no, it's too old.
So this is a piece of it.
Piece of him. And then he agreed upon that. And then they brought...
So he gave the stool to Adelaja and Amesimeku.
Adelaja and Amesimeku. But because of in chieftaincy in African society, a person who ought to be a member of it, you are not to be seen with too much blood or negative sort of what we call malignant spirits following you, because Amesimeku Atoglu killed Foley, he was not added to the line. So Chachu Adalaja, who helped to bring the stool, when Sri was dying, he added him as part of the rulers. And that is why our land had these two major ruling houses. That is the Ajovia and the Bate clan.
Wow. So this is how we got the main ruling clans within the Anglo group. I see. That's quite fascinating. I'm sure there are other things we can talk about, but for today's episode, we can end it here. On another episode, we'll talk about one of the historical landmarks within the Anglo area, which is Fort Presenstein. And I'm sure you can then fill in some of the gaps around the Anglo and Keta, how initially they were not on the same terms before they came together. So thank you for Kuda Kwankra. This is a very short history of the Anglo. We'll continue the discussion on a different program where we would use a landmark to bring you some insightful discussions. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the on-air series on the Heritage Month. Thank you.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Are you a salary worker or a business owner? Do you feel left behind when it comes to your finances? Well, CitiSpay is here for you. We offer loans with low interest rates at the fastest speed. Visit our website www.citispay.com.gh and use our pre-approval calculator today. Call us on 0595 741614 or 0595 738121. CitiSpay. We leave with no one behind.
Keys. What could be simpler than a key? Who doesn't have a key? A car key, an office key, a drawer key. But there's one key that rules them all. The house key. The key to a place we call home. The key to the home where everything comes together. The key to a home that is our own. A home where we make life happen with our families and loved ones. Adoha has been working hard for over 30 years to make home ownership within reach for many. Say yes to property with Adoha. Your dream home is one call away. Your dream home is a few clicks away. Visit our Accra project, The Place, by calling 030-2789-757.
1xBet. Easy betting, easy winnings. 1xBet, the most reliable service to make deposits easily with high odds and numerous bonuses on the spot. Register now at 1xBet.com.gh. Use promo code BESTODDSGH. You get 300% bonus up to 3,445 Ghana cedis on your first deposit. Easy to use, easy to have a chance to win. 1xBet, reliable bookmaker. Gambling can be addictive. Bet responsibly. Not for person under 18 years. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission.
Enjoy the best of convenience and security on AT Money. Carry out all your mobile money related transactions on the go. Send or receive cash, pay bills, move cash in and out of your bank account from anywhere at any time. Airtel Tigo Money, your most secured and trusted mobile money service.
Unleashing the power of relevant radio. This is Citi 97.3.
$9:45. That was Kwekuda Kwankra chatting with Bernard Avle on some aspects of the Volta region, some towns, a bit of history. All of that part of our Heritage Month on Citi 97.3 FM and on Citi TV. We'll be back with more tomorrow on the Citi Breakfast Show. That's how we wrap it up. The show was hosted by Bernard Avle. And I was here with him. Richard Dalaska and Godfred Akoto-Boafo were here as well. The show produced by Fred Jabano. Let's take the news at 10. All right, Idris Mustafa is here with the latest. What's in the news?